Hello and welcome everybody. Session 31 of Descent into Avernus. Anybody want to give a recap of last week's happenings before today's probably harrowing adventure? Possibly, not definitely harrowing.
If nobody's going to take it, I'm definitely going to be gaining inspiration.
Alex is like, I'm gonna need it.
Yeah, I already used. I'm trying to give people the option because I've done it a couple times in a row now.
Yeah, I've been slacking. I appreciate you.
All right. Well, then, in that case, last week the party was in the southwest, presumed southwest of Avernus. They had gone through some spirits. We started there, and what could have been a interesting encounter, but I'm going to point out for this reason, Derek had a bright idea, brilliant, got them out of combat without any issue, and then immediately flubbed it up with the next encounter. um, so while we were helping out Red Ruth, the hag, to get her a bath in the Wandering Emporium, some creatures attacked, particularly spirits, but then a potentially poisoned treant. Discovering a hex bag effectively, thought it was a good idea to take that. Turns out that kind of made a very awkward situation, which resulted in Red Ruth kind of planeswalking on out of there, going into the ethereal plane, and probably not for the best for the company. However, did realize let's move southeast, which we started doing that. Came across a kind of large stone gate, old structure buried. Kind of let's ignore that for a little while. Moving on over to a very large set of armor and sword and weaponry. Come to find out, it is likely the equipment of the Empyrean Aldrich, who is seemingly cursed as a spined devil, I believe. Likely due to his encounter with Tiamat. Thought he was going to be all big bad. Kind of went south for him. So the group decided we'll help you if you can help us, which is the whole thing of then this trade quest has now added yet another level of getting blood over to over the moon color, the unicorn, the Rosala, all that stuff going on. So he has temporarily joined the party. The party has started heading towards the other side of the River Styx. When we are heading northeastwardly, I think it was about a third day, a very large aerial vessel has seemed to appear and heading for us. And that's where we've left off. Surrounded by tons of flying devil-looking creatures, and I believe it was described a single large creature with black wings began descending towards us.
Yes, thank you. Please gain inspiration. So, yeah, high up in the air, like at least 450 feet, you see three large creatures kind of circling this giant spike structure. I'll show you all a picture of it so you can get a better idea of what it looks like. Um, Here, if you can see that.
Yeah, that really, really helps.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. So it's kind of triangular at from a two-dimensional top-down point of view sort of situation, but it kind of tapers down and towards like a spike towards the ground. So it's very tall and very flying. You don't understand how this really works. And at the figurehead of this is where you see, so like up here, where you see this large winged creature kind of flying down towards the group. And the air starts to kind of feel like charged. You hear a lot of, oops, I left this on this map, sorry. You hear the sound, Altamila, of what you could only describe. What is that sound?
Someone's fan, maybe?
What is that? Was that really a fan? That was the weirdest fan. Alright. You hear the sound of, it sounds like perhaps several dozen flying creatures flying in the area around you, but don't see anything on Tamila. And while this is happening, the figure, the large black-winged figure, is flying down closer to the party. Do all of you want to do anything? What actions are you taking? What are you doing, if anything?
We should probably pull out the lantern if we can.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Pull up the lantern.
Yeah, sure. Can pull that up.
You pull out the lantern. Who has the lantern right now?
Unless somebody else wants it, it would be Edmund, because it's in the bag of holding.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, in the air around you, see dozens of imps flying at different angles, moving around rapidly. I'll reveal a lot of them.
Oh, jeez.
This is fantastic thematic music, by the way.
It's the spoopy boss music. The winged creature is about 300 feet away. Is there anything else you do? It keeps moving towards you. Descending slowly and ominously.
Are the imps doing anything? Are they approaching us?
No, they seem to be keeping a relative distance. They seem like they're establishing some sort of perimeter, perhaps.
I look back and see Lulu's reaction.
Lulu's frozen in utter fear, staring straight at the figure descending down towards you.
Antamila's not disguised, right?
Ah, here's the funny thing about that. I never said I changed from Red Root's outfit last session. I don't know if
that
there
was
a
several.
time limit
Yeah.
on it,
Had
and
to
I hadn't
decide-
taken the hat off, so...
Isn't Head of Disguise the Disguise Self spell?
Yeah?
Yeah. What's the duration on Disguise Self?
It's not that long. It's been over like a day or two, right?
Yeah, it's been
Like
like
3 days.
4 or 5, yeah, since Red Ruth.
Okay, so it would have worn off at some point by itself.
Oh yeah, a long time ago.
I'm just
Yeah.
holding a hat on. Okay, cool.
It lasts an hour.
The creature moves down. It's about 120 feet, slowly descending. The eye is just kind of surveying you. At its side, it has a hammer, and at its other side, it has a flail kind of dangling down from their waist. At this range, you can see a lot more clearly. It's a very pale-skinned creature. The wings that were black have kind of red inlaid feathers with them. It appears to be feminine. It's very difficult to say. They have a crown
Nice.
of flames. Go ahead, Eldrin.
So, do we recognize the figure? We did see the statues of Cyril and all that.
It would definitely resemble the statue. Absolutely. In fact, the crown of fire very much resembles the crown of fire that you saw in the statue of the room with...
The ever-burning flame or whatever.
The creature suddenly stops 120 feet away, so about 100 feet in the air, and kind of crosses her arms and looks down at you, and kind of surveys the group for a moment, and her eyes pause on Lulu for an awkward period of time. And then, seemingly forcibly, she kind of pulls them away and looks over at each of you, her eyes stopping on Antamila. In a loud voice, you hear from above, "Cockroaches, what are you doing in my domain?" What do you say?
Are we actually hearing this?
Yeah,
And are we hearing it in common?
it's a very loud common.
Okay.
How far up is she?
120 feet or so. Perhaps you didn't hear me. She moves closer, coming down to about 60 feet. She has her hand on her hammer.
I guess Aldrin would say, I'm just looking for an old friend.
She kind of looks at you. "Without my permission, cockroach." I wish to hear more about your old friend.
I'll kind of walk up in front, do my very, gracious, overly crazy bow yet again, and kind of say, presumed, I presume, saying that this is your domain, we have the grace, the benefit of speaking to the great Zariel.
Archduke Zariel. Yes.
Of course, and I'll kind of do like one of those pity bow. Oh yes, of course. So, not really doing a check yet, but I'm kind of start chumming it up here.
She lands at this point. Her feet touch the ground. And she walks towards you. Derek, you said you're in the front?
Yeah, I guess I'll be.
Yeah, move yourself to where you want to be.
Surprised I can't for some reason.
Oh.
I can't grab my token either.
Oh.
Actually,
I fix.
That's
Layer, token layer. Layer, token layer. I had you on the map layer for some reason. Lulu looks mortified. She lands right in front of you. Derek, like, you could kind of feel relative arcane energy in general with your experience with magic and magical auras and study and research, and like this creature kind of gives off a thrum. You could actually like tangibly feel it. The hair on your arms is standing on end, and this creature looks down to you and says, "I don't have time for formalities. Tell me what you're doing here."
Of course. Do I feel that kind of general sickness, unease that I felt from like the companion?
Actually, no.
Okay.
You feel a different kind of unease. The unease of an overbearing, presumably powerful creature standing within arm's reach of you.
Yeah, that fight or flight moment. Well, to be forward and frank, we became aware of El Terrell disappearing, and we inadvertently got ourselves placed here in Avernus. And at this point now, it's just a matter of being stuck in the wrong place, wrong time.
She kind of looks past you towards Antamila. She says, "This is very fortuitous." And she kind of pauses for a moment and says, said you came with El Terrell.
We came after El Terrell, not realizing what. Hold on. Before I say that, I want to make sure.
Yeah, please be very careful what you
Yeah,
guys say,
yeah, yeah.
because we're gonna go into no takesies backsies depending on what you say. So be careful.
At the time, did we know? We had our suspicions. Yeah, so I'll try to say that. Like, we had our suspicions. El Terrell was taken away to another plane, and we wanted to help its denizens.
Oh, that's problematic. He kind of frowns and looks at you. You intended to interfere with what happened with El Terrell.
I don't understand. What interference would there be?
That you came to. She kind
Again,
of looks
it's like, shoot, hold on. I'm still not trying to lie at this point. So we know... We... oh god, what was his name?
Thaddeus.
Thavius. We had suspicion that Thavius had made some kind of bargain to bring El Terrell here, and we were trying to understand what that entailed, and if there was a way to correct that.
She kind of she actually audibly scoffs. She says, "Well, my decision has become substantially easier. Let's have a more formal discussion on my ship. Come." And she turns her back to you, and you see her kind of toss her hand a little bit, Derek, and you think that you hear a spell being cast, and her size becomes smaller, becomes medium in size, and a weird thing starts to happen from the ship. Ship is an awkward term for this flying structure, which is bigger than I think any building any of you have ever seen.
Flying dagger.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward. And stairs kind of descend from the structure, extending outwards from the bottom part. And two bearded devils wearing plate armor descend the stairs and kind of stand at attention. And Zariel just starts walking towards her ship. What do you do?
I personally will be following her, not making a word, not turning around, like just very straight-laced right behind her. Well, at least behind her, maybe not like literally right behind her. So I'm making no interaction with the party.
Alright, what is everybody else doing?
If Derek's going, Edmund will follow him, keeping an eye on the various devils that are freaking surrounding the area.
Yeah, they're visibly getting in a kind of like corral sort of situation.
Yeah.
They're keeping a distance, but they're like, you know, they're moving behind you.
Yep, hand on sword, not drawn though, obviously.
Yeah, they're keeping a respectful distance. Lulu hasn't moved from her spot. She's still just sitting there. Like, she's not even flying at this point. She's kind of floored, sitting on the ground.
I pick up Lulu.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't have one, that's fine.
You have a Lulu.
I was just trying to figure out how to do it with the magic. That works.
Alright, Edmund, what are you doing?
Oh, I said I was following Derek.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Eldrin, what are you doing?
I'll follow along.
Alright, and Antamila, are you following?
Yeah, I'll follow, I guess.
Okay, cool. So, I'm gonna turn down the music for now. A little less tense, perhaps. Keep it there, though. Background reminder. Okay. So, you start to board up these stairs of material you're not quite sure what it is. Um, the entire structure of this vessel seems to be made of an unknown metal. It's not actually the same as the metal that the chains descending Eltrell were made out of. Trying to think if anybody would have had exposure to this type of metal before. I'm just gonna say no for now because I can't think of a reason why. So you go up this stairs and you're immediately faced with a some more bearded devils kind of standing at the ready up in what appears to be a storage area. You see boxes all over the place, wooden crates, metal crates. Some are open, some are closed, and towards the back or the opposite area where you had entered, you see a spiral staircase which seems to be ascending. Zariel is just moving casually to the staircase and begins to ascend. As you all start to kind of move forward, the devils that were outside are kind of pressing behind you. Again, keeping a respectful distance. The bearded devils keep about 15 feet from you and kind of give you a little bit of a leash. And as you go up, presumably you're following the spiral staircase, you see who here could speak and read Infernal?
I can.
Edmund can.
Okay.
As well.
Okay. For those of you who speak and read Infernal, at regular...
Remember, Inferno and Abyssal are the same written language.
Okay. Yeah, it would be the same then. Derek, do you have Infernal or Abyssal?
I do not. Neither of those. I can't read.
Got it. That's okay. All right. So the ceiling of each floor looks like it's probably approximately 20 feet. And so this is kind of a long spiral staircase going up, but at regular intervals of about 20 feet, the spiral staircase opens to a room facing inwards to the ship. And near the entrance of each room, there is a plaque. And on the first area outside of the armory that you see, so floor 2, and also floor 3 will be the same. In Infernal, it's written as armory, and you see rows and rows of weapons, armor in this room. And half of them are gone. You suspect being worn by creatures at this particular perhaps, or perhaps not. And you see a lot of bearded devils in this armory as you pass by. You ascend more stairs. And on floors 4 through 6, you see a sign that says Bearded Devils. And you don't see much when you look through down into this room while you're ascending the staircase. It seems to be several rooms which seem to be closed off. You see Bearded Devils in the area, though. Perhaps it's some sort of quarters or something along those lines. On floors 7 through 8, as you can ascend, sign that says Imps. You see hundreds of imps in what you would call, I guess, nests. Makeshift nests, perhaps, like similar to bird nests, built with random things scattered all across this room in the kind of mounted from the walls, extending outwards a little bit, kind of like pseudo tree branches made of some unknown substance. You don't know what it is. Scattered all across this room. Lots and lots of imps. Anthamila would also notice, while ascending, this room seems to have several tubes. You're not sure where the tubes go, but they are very small tubes. You presume they lead outside, though. Perhaps an exit for the imps. Hard to say. You ascend to floor 9, and it says Commander's Deck. Or Commander's Quarters, my apologies. And you see a large, ornate door on this floor. It is guarded by 2 Aranyes, without the scorpion tails like what Pip-Kip had. Just kind of standing at either side of the entrance of the door. It looks like a very fancy floor. On floors 10 and 11, you see signs that say cafeteria, and you see devils of various sorts eating and talking amongst themselves, mostly imps and bearded devils, with a couple of Avernus spread amongst them, very sparsely, mostly imps and bearded devils. On floor 12, you see a sign that says medical. And it looks like there's 2 rooms here. In this room, you see a blue Abishai laughing sadistically as he seems to be performing some sort of operation on an imp who's squealing in pain. He seems to be relishing in it. The room has several bottled potions, presumably, and other flasks and medical equipment.
What is the quote-unquote doctor?
It is a blue Abishai.
Is that something we know of already? Or are you
You
just
have
getting
encountered a white Abishai, which is a dragon-like devil demon creature.
Gotcha. Okay.
Fiend. And then you reach an ominous floor, and Zariel has kind of stopped ascending and is kind of looking back at you. And on the sign it says prison deck. And in this room you see several storage containers to the left and right hand sides, flanking the entrance immediately. I will actually move you to a map. It's actually, we'll save that. You will notice several interesting things in this room. One, in the center of the room, there is a cage with 2 chains lying on, actually 3 chains lying on the ground near the cage, and there's blood stains all over the floor. Kind of stains as though they were created by something. You've actually seen stains similar to this before in the Van Thamper estate. They look like they were created by whips, perhaps. Not sure. But that kind of like lashing blood trail rather than like pool blood. Standing opposite of the cage further into the room, you see a devil that seems to be carrying chains. It is covered in chains on its body. And he's standing at a desk, and as he notices you, he kind of stands and looks in your direction. To the northwest corner of the room, you see a creature sobbing, like the tears are visibly streaking down its face. It looks very similar to the creature that you encountered in the Wandering Emporium that ran the freight service. So kind of like a pudgy-winged devil creature.
Devil water.
And perhaps most interestingly, in the northeast corner, Antamila, in a cell, you notice your mom.
Oh, damn.
I thought that might be coming, but I was hoping it wasn't Maurice.
Me too. I'm like, well, sorry, gang.
Know where it is.
So your mom kind of locks eyes with you, Antamila, and kind of rushes to her cage. Bars. They seem to be like vertical bars, similar to a normal prison situation. Antamila! And you hear Zariel kind of say, remove all of your belongings, place them into the chest, and we will have a conversation.
Are we getting our things back?
She kind of opens her mouth and smiles as she says, I suppose that's up to you, dear. What do you do?
As we were ascending these floors, very gross number of creatures were we able to see from like, I guess, these stairwells.
Yeah, so hundreds of imps, at least dozens of bearded devils, at least, and handfuls of Avernus. The Abishai and the chain devil as well.
And the big baddie.
Oh yeah, don't forget her, I suppose. Come. I said I don't have a lot of time.
Edmund mutters under his breath that he never thought he'd miss Baldur's Gate. Starts taking his gear off.
All right, so I'm going to ask this question, as this might become relevant. So the expectation is going to be that you put your stuff in chests that are located in this room. Does anybody want to attempt to hide anything on their person? The difficulty will be based on how big the object is.
How big are thieves' tools?
It depends. So you normally have a pouch with several things in it. The pouch itself, like, it will have things like files, like for cutting open things. It'll have lock picks inside, various implements and gadgets. It's not just one thing. I would say that the kind of pouch containing it is kind of like, let's just say about the size of a generous eyeglass case. And but any of the individual implements from inside of it might be substantially smaller and thinner, perhaps easier to conceal on one's person.
I'll probably try to conceal like lockpicks or things of that nature, not the whole thing.
Okay, so tell me.
Things I could use to open locks.
Cool. So give me a sleight of hand check, Eldrin.
Meanwhile, as I'm taking everything off, I am going to try to conceal my crystal.
Okay, yeah, also a sleight of hand check. Okay, Eldrin. You're pretty confident that nobody noticed you. Derek, how big is your crystal?
That's a great question. It's like the standard crystal. It's supposed to be my arcane focus.
Well, I will let you flavor it as you want, so you can be honest with me.
Okay, I have always described this is been in my locket, because usually, like, I had a chain or something, and I would grab it, so
Okay.
I'd always have it on me. So, I mean, this is the size of my hand,
Oh, hand, that's pretty big.
right? I guess.
All right.
Like, it should be able to fit in my hand, because I'm using it as my focus.
Oh, inside your hand, perhaps. Okay. No, that's pretty reasonable. You kind of remove the crystal from the locket so nobody kind of notices you palm it as you place the whole locket in. Like, they see you take your necklace off and you kind of open it, like, subtly, but you drop the necklace and it looks like you took off the thing. And nobody seems to react to you doing this. Antamil and
Okay.
Edmund, do you want to try to do anything from your end? The smaller it is, the more easy it is. If it's big, you might have problems, but I might let you do it.
I'm gonna get what's the word? I'm going to see if I can do where I probably won't be able to. I was going to try and remove my armor and everything like that, but basically I just want to leave the cloak on, like it's part of my clothing under the armor.
Oh, they're going to insist that you remove that.
They know that it's a cloak of protection.
No, I'm talking about your armor. They want you in plain
Yeah, that's what I'm
clothes.
saying. I want to remove the armor. I'm trying to say I don't necessarily want to smuggle anything, but if they don't know the cloak of protection is a cloak of protection, can I just be wearing it like a cloak, like it's part of my outfit?
I will say you can certainly try.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it won't make any like flare of it or anything, but basically he just takes off everything, all his gear and stuff, but he tries to leave the cloak as part of his outfit.
Alright, we'll address that when we get to it. Antamila.
I don't think I have anything I could. Oh, how large is the elemental gem exactly?
Oh no. Are you talking about the Orb of Dragon kind?
No, God, no, Jesus, no.
I forgot about that thing that you guys have that sucks really bad.
Yeah, the yellow diamond elemental gem that summons an earth elemental. How big is that? Because I don't think it says it. It's like
I'm gonna assume that it's small because the value of the item would increase exponentially based on the size, and I think size of it physically. Is it a rare or uncommon?
It's uncommon.
Yeah, it's gonna be like it's very small. It's not a huge diamond at all. If it was bigger, it'd be worth more than the magical item properties probably, which would get
Right.
ridiculous. So yeah,
Okay, so like palm of the hand, sort of, kind of very small like that, or
yeah, smaller than it probably about the same size as Derek's crystal. So beat a DC 14 pretty or 14 pretty much.
yeah. Let's see how that works out. I mean, I only can lose a hand or the crystal, which is not really that important. But my hand is important. Go for it. Why not?
Okay.
Tits.
The chain devil just looks at you, Antamila. Is everything in the crate?
Give him a solemn look and throw it in the crate like a child.
Okay. Now we'll get to Edmund in a second because it will be happening during a second security sweep. So, all of you, those of you that kind of passed, you have your things on you hidden on your person, no problem. And the chain devil says, "Okay," and he holds out a rod and says a word and kind of scans over each of you. You're fine. Go to the cell, he says to Eldrin. And he points you to the far northwest cell. Edmund, he says, take off the cloak.
I do it.
Cool. Antamila, you're good at this point. And Derek, your thing, despite being a focus, is not actually magical, so you are also good. And you pass, and he kind of assigns you. Eldrin is to the far top left cell, followed by Edmund to the one next to that. Followed by Derek and Antamila. You're given the cell right next to your mum.
Are we put in a
And I'm gonna put you in the room.
I was gonna say, did you put us on a map? Because I don't.
Yeah, I was holding off on it until you guys were actually in the cells.
You're fine. You're fine. I was just making sure.
And I might have to rearrange you because I forgot about Lulu. Again, let me put everyone into their appropriate cells. By the way, don't try to move out of the cells. You will probably be able to. Stop moving
The
yourself.
cell bars really be giving dynamic. It's so weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Hey, you.
Yeah, damn well we can see these bars.
I'm putting you in a different cell, Antamila. You're over here. And Lulu's placed in a cell in between you, and then the Empyrean is as well, who I didn't get a token for some reason. Actually, the Empyrean would not be brought into a cell. He would be brought with Zariel. You're the first for questioning. What were you doing with them? You hear her say as her voice trails up, and the Spine Devil looks at you nervously as he's pulled up the stairs. Okay. You all find yourself in an awkward situation. In this room, the Spine Devil kind of sits down at the table and kicks up his feet and says, enjoy your stay. I'm sure I'll get to play with you all soon. He kind of licks his lips and kind of looks back at the blood-stained cage to the south part of the room. Says, I give you permission to speak. Just don't get too loud. I'm trying to relax.
The chest we left our stuff is in this room.
Yeah, they're in the chests. Located to the southwest and southeast of the room. There's 6 chests. On Tamila, you hear a familiar voice call out to you from your east. Oh, Tamila! Why are you here? Oh, Les! What have you done?
Well, just trying to help some people, Ma. Oh, Dad's okay. He says hi.
Damn it. Why is he here?
I suspect the same reason you're here.
Oh. She gathers from what you said. She kind of puts it together. So you know.
Yep. I think, unless there's more you need to tell me.
I don't think this is the time. So, as she kind of gets close to the bars to you and kind of starts, like, you can't see her, but you hear her trying to be soft with her voice. She starts to kind of share information with you, Aunt Thamila, about the ship. She's been here for a while now, obviously a few weeks. Um, she's gonna kind of whisper some information over to you and tell you what she knows about this place and what she's gathered so far.
Okay.
And she tells you that first, the fat, pudgy thing hasn't stopped crying since I've come here. He was brought in. I don't know why he's imprisoned here. They put him in chains, and he's just been blubbering ever since. He's this thing. She kind of looks. Oh, by the way, the inside of your cells. An interesting note. Before I go too deep into this, Derek, give me an Arcana check.
Okay.
Derek, you're not 100% certain. You notice these cells have red glowing on the walls. Derek, you think it has something to do with conjuration magic, but you're not 100% sure what it means. With an Arcana check of 10, unfortunately.
Okay.
But you are confident that they're somehow runes related to conjuration. And your mom, Aunt Amelia, I just wanted to get it out of the way, continues. This thing, it starts to vibrate, and when it does, things change on the ship. Guards, patrols, usually when it's set down like this, not rumbling, it gets quiet on the ship. I think that most of the things on the ship leave. But when it's rumbling and making its noises, as she says this, by the way, Edmund, you hear, well, everyone hears it, but Edmund, it's going to be a big bother to you. You all start to feel the ground vibrate, and you hear a familiar soul wailing noise
Oh no.
in the air. She says, God damn it.
When that happens, like this soul, the wailing, that's kind of pretty much be heard everywhere.
Yeah, it's not as loud. You can tell that it's like you were near kind of like an engine sort of situation with your, well, you wouldn't know what an engine is perhaps, but near the working mechanisms of the demon grinder when it was making noise. You feel like this is probably further away from you, but at the same time it's on a larger scale, so you could still hear it, but not directly as loud as when you were riding the demon grinder.
Well, yes. When I hear this noise, I'm going to try to cast prestidigitation to make small musical notes.
Yeah, that.
Why notes? I guess an odor. So pretty much I'm kind of like in the corner right when I hear this noise, start casting it and seeing if I actually can.
Yeah, your magic works. Can you give me a...
You beat me to it, Alex. I was going to try and cast light.
Yeah. The chain devil across the room doesn't seem to know laying around in your corner. You have your back turned to him.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, you don't seem to be noticed.
Sorry about that. Continue.
No, you're good. Yeah, like this. The ship is full of the beasties.
The shit, my headset turned up again by itself. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the first thing she tells you, is when it's still, she will commonly see lots of devils going down the stairwell. She presumes that they're leaving the ship, building, whatever it is.
Flying Death Dagger.
Yeah. No window, so she actually has no clue where she is. So I'm trying to remember that, which is hyper awkward. Also, the shift changes here. This chained guy, swaps out with one of the ones with the beard. Not a good beard, not a dwarven beard. Spiky beard. The one with the chains, I've seen him, seems to enjoy his job too much. Quite sadistic, that one. I wouldn't get on his bad side. He can control the chains with his mind. He kind of looks back. Well, I guess you can't see. So be careful. He's much more dangerous than the bearded ones. They seem to be a lot more calm when it's not making the noise too on the ship. Trying to think of what else she would tell you. That's all she knows, actually. They bring her food once a day. She says you'll have to get used to the smell. There are no toiletries.
How long have you been here?
I've been here for quite a while. I care not think about pile in the corner of the room. It smells horrible, by the way. Yeah, no facilities here. No beds. Like, these cells are very Spartan. No chairs, even. Just a floor. Very Spartan cells. There's chains in your cells, though, which, based on the new information you were given, isn't necessarily a good thing by any means. Alright. So, does anybody want to do anything in particular? In a few minutes, someone's about to come back, but I want to make sure that nobody has anything they want to do in particular at this moment.
I just have a question. Based on everything we know about the demon grinders, and I'm sure we don't know a ton about how they function, but we at least know some from what Mad Maggie and stuff told us, and their use. Do we think that would everything that's feasible to run a ship of this size off of a single soul coin?
Probably. It's hard to say. Like, you have to also consider the fact that
I just had like nightmare visions of a Plinko machine of like all these soul coins and like dumping them in by the bag load to run this thing.
yeah, it's possible. You don't really know how it's powered.
I didn't know if we would know that like it's a soul is a soul, so you put it in a huge thing or a small thing, it's going to run it equally well or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to say, even if you made a 20 on a check, you're not going to be certain, so I'm not even going to have it.
Right, yeah, makes sense.
Did it look of similar make of like the machines and the would we expect this to also be made in the Forge of Bell?
Oh, so you've seen two things created from the Forge of Bell. Give me a general intelligence check or history check if you're trained, I suppose.
I am not trained.
Okay, yeah, just a general intelligence check.
I guess it's the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna give you an extra bonus if you had a proficiency in an intelligence skill relevant. Okay, but no, that's good.
Yeah.
So so not exactly the same as the demon grinder, but the way that some of these rivets are built on the floor, and the look of some of the rooms and the interiors, you know, you've seen some of the similar folds of metal, perhaps on the beetle-like structure that was holding Moonglow in place. You think that this is probably from the same maker, yes?
Good to know. When they closed us in on the cells, how did they close?
There seemed to be a physical lock, yes. It seems to be the cells were already opened, and it was closed and locked with a key held by the devil with the chains.
I see.
A few moments pass, and Zariel returns with the spined devil in her hand, like physically, she's like holding it by its head, and she takes the keys from the chain devil, opens a cell and throws him in. The one next to where Lulu was, in between. Well, next to you, Antamila, you'd be the one closest to this. And puts him in a cell. The Zariel then takes the save key and goes to Eldrin's cell, opens it, says, "You, come with me. We should have a discussion."
Let's chat.
What are you saying,
Wow.
Derek?
Do I see Zariel pass? Did I see her pass through?
Yeah.
So, like, if I don't know where Eldrin is, I'm trying to figure out.
Oh,
did she
yeah.
have to cross my field of vision
She did.
to get to Eldrin?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so she went to the far, it seems like to the center of the room, one of the cells in the center. Probably close to yours, Derek. And then she walked past you, heading from east to west. So, kind of in this direction. And then you hear her open a cell and say what she says to Eldrin.
Okay.
And, she beckons you to follow, Eldrin.
Follow.
Gonna follow?
Yep.
Cool. She'll throw the keys back on the desk with the spined devil, or not spined devil, lol, chain devil, and she will go downstairs with you 4 floors to the one that was labeled Commander's Quarters. The Aranyes that were guarding the room stand at attention when they see Zariel, and she takes a key from her person and unlocks the door. And I'm going to ask for everybody else to go on deafen and mute while I have a side conversation with Eldrin.
Let's see. How do I? There it is. All right. Your beat.
Devin.
I do take note as we walk through and down the stairs and all that. I take careful note of like the condition of the floor and kind of what's around.
Yeah, the ship seems to be in relatively good shape. It seems to be a well-kept vessel. Is there something specific you're looking for?
Anything that would make extra noise, or if any kind of
Got it.
loose tiles or things of that nature.
No, it seems to be in pretty good condition, well kept. You think for the purposes of kind of moving silently, it'd be pretty easy for you to do. It's metal flooring certainly, but it's even flooring, and like especially as you are now without any gear on, you feel like you could walk across it pretty easy.
Right.
All right, so you're brought into a room, and this is an interesting room to describe. So, and Zariel beckons to a chair across from her and asks for you to sit. In this room, you see several things. One, this is an armor stand. You presume probably for whatever armor Zariel wears. Here, you see a weapons crate. It's loaded with several weapons that are meant for a creature of large size.
When you saying here, am I supposed to be seeing something? Or...
Oh, did I not shift ping you? My apologies.
Ah. I mean, I see 2 tiles.
Wait, 2 tiles?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, it must have been something weird with the light. Oh, it was the door. My apologies.
Yeah, I was on the other side of the door. This way.
Got it. Yeah, so here you see an armor stand, probably for the armor. Weapons crate, meant for armor for large creatures. On the table, you see a crystal ball. To the north of the room, you see a portrait, and it looks just like Antamila. You see a desk with several papers on it. Here, you assume is bedding, probably for Zariel when resting. The northeast, you see a large chest made of a similar material to the ship. Looks very well made. A mirror to the northeast. More bedding to the southeast. And to the northwest, you think you catch signs of a bath with a divider. Perhaps a bathing area. And she kind of sits down and kind of relaxes in her chair. She says, "Welcome to my ship. I will apologize. I don't spend much time on pleasantries or appearances. I'll be blunt and frank and to the point. Why are you here?"
Like I said, I'm here to seek an old friend.
And she kind of looks at you. "I'm interested to hear about your old friend. Who are you here seeking?"
His name is Fernone. Uh, last I
She
heard. hmm
she kind of sits there and ponders that for a little bit. "That name's familiar, but I can't put finger on where I've heard that before." Go on. My apologies.
I found information that he might have been lost here in Avernus, and I took the chance to follow this group to try to take him back to
Your
where he
friend
belongs.
your friend had mentioned that you were here because of El Terrell. Do you have intentions to attempt to free El Terrell?
If it's the only way I can get back, I guess. But I would imagine there's other ways. Sounds like a crazy task to try to bring a whole city back. I'm no wizard. I just shoot my arrows.
She kind of regards you and she says, "The small one told me you were going to see someone by the name of Smiler, the Defiler. Do you know who that is?"
Not personally.
And she kind of frowns with disappointment. Says,
Do you know him?
"Yes, been a thorn in my side for a long time." And says, "I was hoping that you were here to kill him. Would have made this conversation much more amenable."
Oh,
She kind of throws out an exasperated sigh. She says, "Frankly, I'm trying to find of what use you are to me."
well, I am trying to get to Smiler. See, my
Oh,
friend Firmone is said to have lost himself, and he's going by that name.
that is where I've heard. Oh, I remember now. That was Gargal's project.
Yes,
Interesting. Interesting.
I'm just trying to free him from his current afflictions and either bring him back or free his soul. Either way, it sounds like it would be of use to you.
I agree, she says very flatly. She says, "I if your intention is to rid Avernus of Smiler, I have no quarrel with you." And she says, "Frankly, I would be happy to make a deal with you." What was your name?
Eldrin.
Eldrin. She says, "I will let you go. You alone. I mean, I'll be having a similar chat with your friends as long as they promise not to interfere with what I'm trying to accomplish. But I will let you go if you promise to rid Avernus of Smiler the Defiler and not interfere with my plans for El Terrell." What do you say?
Like I said, my goal here is to get to rid Avernus of a Smiler, so I think that's all good by me. I'm not really sure what you have to do with Elturel and what I'll be interfering with. It's here.
Well, let me explain it so we can make this a much more simple negotiation.
Sounds good.
Elturel is here by my whim. I need
Oh.
mortal souls to fuel my armies to fight the demons here in Avernus.
Oh, I thought you were their savior or something.
Save those cowardly swine? Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. The people of Elturel are cowards. They're traitors. They're perfect for being made into devils, actually. They signed on. I do not intend to allow them to renege on their contract. Give me a insight check, Eldrin. Ooh, nice. You notice when she says that, she's kind of looking past you towards a chest in the back corner of the room. She kind of fixes her gaze back on you. Says, so I'll spell this plainly. A contract. I'm not like other devils. I'm not a devil at all. She actually corrects herself as she says that. She says, a simple contract. You deal with Smiler, remove him from Avernus, and I agree to set you free under the condition that you do. You will not interfere directly with my plans for Elturel. Is this under penalty, of course? Any contract comes with a penalty. The signee does not agree to the terms or does not follow the terms as they're written. Your soul would be obviously forfeit. Somehow weird. Kind of looks at you. What do you say? If your intention's only to deal with Smiler, that shouldn't be a problem. In fact, I will throw in a reward for you. After you deal with Smiler, I could send you home. Just to ensure. That's a much more simple contract, actually. How about that? It sounds like you'll get everything you want. I will let you go. You remove Smiler the Defiler from Avernus, and I will immediately send you home, back to the material plane. I'll even let you pick the city of your choice. Sounds like a great deal, right?
Sounds like a good deal.
A piece of paper appears in the air.
There's a caveat.
Oh, she was standing up from her chair. Oh, what is that?
I might need some of my companions to help me deal with them.
Well, if their intention is to not interfere with my plans, and they have something to offer me like you do, I'm sure it won't be a problem, but I'll certainly consider it. Smiler is dangerous after all. Are you formidable?
Can shoot my bow.
Kind of nods. I'll consider it in my negotiations with them. She pulls
What about
Oh, go ahead.
the fiend? What about the fiend? You
What
already
fiend?
talked to him?
Yes.
Or
Yeah. What
he was our
about him?
guide?
Oh, he's your... Ah. She kind of looks at you for a second, kind of thinks. Told me something different.
Well, I need him to help me navigate to Smiler. He's a slippery bunch.
Give me a deception check.
I'm not necessarily lying.
Well, you know that he's not there to guide you to Smiler.
Well, he's not guiding me, but he's like, like a guide as in like he knows the dangers of the area. So it's like there's a big demon monster over there. Like,
Okay.
That's
You-
what I was thinking.
Got it. I'll let you roll with that. She kind of looks at you suspiciously, just kind of waves it off. She seems to be convinced that the contract will be good enough to satisfy her what she cares for. I'll consider it for him as well. He's just a spined devil after all, a worthless creature. And she dips a feather quill into an inkwell and begins to write. And it is in common, in very plain language. And it says, it pretty much lays out the intention that I gave you. There doesn't seem to be any sort of obvious deception, but you could certainly give me an investigation check.
I would definitely want to at least attempt to figure out.
Yeah, but
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay.
yeah, it seems very cut and dry. The specific things being that, again, the points that she's trying to make are, one, deal with Smiler the Defiler in Avernus. Deal with is left ambiguous to your discretion, aka she seems to be okay with whatever you want to do with him as long as he's not causing problems in Avernus. So that's left to your discretion. And after dealing with Smiler the Defiler, she will return you to the material realm at a location of your choice. And it's that simple. It's a very cut and dry contract. There doesn't seem to be any obvious deception. And she signs her name and lays down the quill. It seems to be made of one of her feathers on the table.
Interesting. I'll go ahead and sign it.
Excellent. She stands from her chair and rolls up the contract and places it on a pouch in her person. Says, excellent. Worst case scenario, you die trying. But I think that your group is a group of destiny, if I had to guess. Seeing who you travel with. I think that is all I need from you.
I do take a look around and look for any unique objects. Looks like there's several ones.
Yeah, so sitting in front of you directly, there's a crystal ball. And occasionally you think you see a glimpse of the mountain heart where you were at previously. You suspect for some reason that this crystal ball is magic in some way. Outside of that, there's several things scattered about, but the chest and the ball seem to be the most interesting pieces aside from the portrait of Antamila to the part of the room.
Do I get any... I know she has papers and writings and stuff. Do I get any idea of what they are about?
So looking over there, that does seems to be a mess. There's painting supplies. A lot of painting supplies. There seems to be parchments. You can't really make out what they're saying from this distance. Trying to think of what might be interesting there. There's also maps. You presume they might be, again, you can't tell, but they kind of look similar vaguely to the maps that you have, the map that you have of Avernus. And it has several markings on the map near the river to where El Terrell was presumably on your map. You think that is probably some sort of battle planning map sort of thing that she's at. But other than that, nothing of interest that hasn't already been described.
Yeah, and the picture just looks like Antamila, or
it's
like spot on.
If you saw it from across a room, and you knew Antamila, you're pretty confident that's Antamila. Antamila's a pretty unique looking person.
Right. I guess I would point out, are you a fan?
And she looks at you, she says, oh, and then she sees where your eyes are, and she kind of gives you a toothy grin. Says, I certainly hope to be.
I have needs of that one, so
as do I.
Please keep that in mind.
Oh, I certainly will. She she kind of keeps her gaze there for a little bit, and then kind of ushers you out.
Yep.
And she'll
just by myself. Oh, she ushered me out. Sorry.
Yeah. She's kind of like.
So she was pointing me out. I'm like.
You probably
Okay.
wouldn't have a good time wandering off. No, she's kind of dragging you back.
Okay.
All right. Do you do anything on the way or anything interesting like that? You don't have
No,
to.
just take note of everything, pretty much. Like take note of the surroundings and all that.
Cool. Nothing new. And now we're gonna go back. So I'm gonna wave to them. Do they notice me? Hi guys. Can you unmute?
Hey, yeah.
Can someone message Maurice and tell him if he's not unmuted?
I saw a thumbs up.
Okay, cool. All right. Eldrin is returned back to the room with Zariel, and put in a cage.
He
And
purposely looks like in good moods.
yeah, Zariel looks the same actually, and she'll make a point of saying "pleasure doing business with you," as she opens Edmund's cell, and she says, "You come with me, Paladin of Helm."
Oh boy.
Same question. Did she have to cross my field of vision
No.
to...
Okay. Yeah, it's the cell directly next to yours.
When you go with her, assuming that we get there, you'll be able to see us. So you should know the position of everybody in the cells because you'll be walking in and out.
Eventually. Yeah,
So,
once
yeah.
you sell.
So not too long from now.
If you
just
also
assume you know. Yeah.
I was going to say, because I'm going to make a nice long check all over that.
Yeah, I will say that
But we can
you know the people
do that
adjacent to you, Derek.
Okay.
You know that Edmund is in the cell to the left side, so the west. Lulu is in the cell to the east. And you're pretty confident that, when you first entered the room, Pudgy Guy was to the far, far west, and Antamila's mom was to the far, far east. You just don't know how far away Antamila is from you, is the only one you probably wouldn't know at this point.
Okay.
So I'll actually give you a quick view, because I'll give you a quick view of the room. You see that?
Sure.
You don't know which one Antamila is in between these two? Between...
You can just escape through the bars.
Yeah, it's true, actually, you can, but... Why not? Okay. No, Eldrin escaped, oh no! But guess what, Eldrin, joke's on you. Reveal GM layer. Oh. Oops.
Oops.
I was trying to reveal a creature on the GM layer. That's pretty funny. You actually stepped directly on a monster that's hidden there.
No.
That's funny.
Alright, same exercise, friends. Sorry, I tried to warn you guys. There's probably going to be a few one-on-one conversations. I'm going to have a quick one with Edmund really quick. Unless Edmund resists coming.
Goodbye forever, friends.
Most likely to die.
Oh, God.
Alright, Edmund. We're dragging you across the board.
Edmund.
Alright, you're brought to a... Oh, everyone else can mute and deafen, by the way. Reapers.
Yeah, I don't think Alex is, but it looks like he took his headset off completely.
Got it. That works. Edmund, you're brought into a elaborate room. To the southwest, you see armors and armaments. To the southeast, you see... By the way, I'm going to shift ping just in case you don't see this. You see pillows and bedding. You presume this is where Zariel rests. To the north, you see something particularly ominous. You see a painting of Antamila on the wall. Zariel sit in a throne-like chair, and she ushers for you to sit in the chair adjacent from her. On the table, you see something that appears to be a crystal ball. To the northeast corner of the room, you see a large, ornate, well-made chest. A very big chest, made of the similar material to the ship.
That's over here, behind me.
Over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Sure. Is she large
Yeah.
and in charge? Okay.
Is absolutely large and in charge. I don't know why you're behind the chair.
Wait, I thought I was sitting on the chair.
Oh, on my end it looks very different. What?
Oh, weird.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
I moved myself over the chair.
got it. Alright,
Damn.
cool. So, she kind of looks at you. She says, well, what is Paladin of Helm doing in Avernus
come to set the people of Elturel free.
Oh, is she a brave one? I'm not sure if you're brave or foolish.
Maybe a little of both.
She'll smile, and she'll say, "Well, I'm interested to understand how you think you will survive this. If you were here to interfere with my plans, what use are you to me, cockroach?"
Because your plans should be what your plans originally were. To get rid of all the foul creatures here, not just picking and choosing.
She laughs again. She says, "As a follower of Helm, you should absolutely understand that what I'm doing is within my nature. Helm himself even killed a god he was friendly with in following his duty. What more noble duty is there than slaying fiends?" She says, "I use devils to kill demons." She says, "Are you joking right now? This is the best outcome. You're absolutely right. I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do."
But you're not keeping the demons or the devils from killing people or harming them. The entire machine that we're in right now is being run off souls that you're destroying.
All of which were willing signees.
All of which were probably tricked into signing.
Tricked, signed. The cowards deserve no explicit written information. They're cowards. They're scum. They deserve what happens to them. And they're doing it for a noble purpose. They will be killing demons. They will be redeeming themselves for the mistakes that they have made.
Being a coward or ignorant doesn't mean that they should die.
She says, she kind of laughs and says, "Well, I'm still waiting to understand how what you can do for me is better than what El Terrell can do for me." She kind of leans back in her chair and puts her arms behind her head. "El Terrell has several hundred souls that will be added to my ranks. You're trying to stop that. I don't understand how this is remotely useful to me."
What if they aren't your ranks anymore? What if we just, came here to do what you wanted to do the first time you came here and we ended all of this? I'm sure it's within your power, right?
Within my power to do what? I apologize.
Just wipe this place clean of all evil. Devils and demons included, both of them. Get rid of them all.
It's something I'm constantly striving toward. Unfortunately, the legions of the Abyss are quite literally infinite. Says, she kind of frowns. She says, "I've been waiting for Bel's secret weapon for some time now. Unfortunately, as before, he is failing to deliver." And she says, "If I could just wipe out all the demons with a snap of my finger, all the devils with a snap of my finger, I would. Unfortunately, it requires more direct approaches."
That's good at least.
Kind of looks at you quizzically.
The fact that you would if you could.
Of course, they're filthy scum. And she says, she yells out her name in Infernal. Skrathagar. Skrathagar enters the room. He says, bring me an imp." He bows deeply and leaves the room. And kind of continues her conversation with you. He says, "At all costs, Again, as a follower of Helm, I would figure you would understand this more than most. I'm surprised that you're, seem to not be on the same page. This.
I'm as I've gone through my travels, I've started to learn that the moral compass of deities isn't exactly always the best.
An understatement if I had ever heard one. And she kind of laughs and says, "Look, Helm is shit. Helm has landed you here, in Avernus. What has Helm done for you? Has Helm done anything for you? The reason that he is in the state he is in now, with no followers pretty much, is because of what he did. He was ostracized for doing his duty. You speak of duty as though it's a good thing. I think it is." And moments later, the bearded devil enters the room with a imp and leaves. And Zariel stands up from her throne, flicks out her flail, and evaporates this imp. Devils are a means to an end. She says, "I seek powerful souls to help me end the demonic threat, and eventually the devil threat as well." She says, "Do you think you could be of use to me?"
In what way? Exactly.
And she says, "Well, there's several ways you could be of use to me. She says, how about this? This might be me being a bit idealistic, but listen, think this through. How about abandon Helm, swear fealty to me, kill demons for eternity? Sounds like a pretty great deal. You would protect the weak, you would protect the mortal realm in my service. You could remain as you are, a mortal man. And upon your death, we could keep you going. Depending on your accomplishments, be quite powerful."
Here in Avernus or on the mortal plane?
Oh, well, I assumed you wanted to make the most impact. I would say Avernus, but I do need more followers in the material plane as well. If you served me, I could certainly make arrangements for you to be returned there as well. Your friend had expressed similar interest. Eldrin, I believe his name was?
He's here for different reasons than most of us, I think.
That seems to be apparent. He said his same. I liked that one. Straight to the point. Pragmatic. I think you have it in you as well. I think your sense of duty can be useful to me.
I am getting stronger. I'm going to keep getting stronger. And from the way I understand this place works, the mortals who become these fiends start out from the bottom, below even the thing you just killed.
She laughs. She says, "Arrangements can be made otherwise. Take, for example, the wallowing man. I guess you can't call him a man anymore. That shares cells with you and your comrades. Quite a powerful devil. Previously, a simple priest of Torm."
Crime fiend?
Yeah, the pudgy demon with the
Yeah,
wings.
yeah.
Once everything is completed with El Terrell, he will be able to serve my legion, be able to continue the work gain redemption for the Belturel.
Do I remember, is Thavius Creek torn? Was he torn?
Yes.
Um,
Give me an insight
I-
check.
yeah, I was gonna say, if I don't get enough insight, he's probably just gonna ask her directly. Where?
Thinking
14.
about it to yourself, based on the context of what she said, and the shadow of Thavius Creek that you saw,
Yeah.
wonder if that devil could be Thavius Creek.
So if I were to make an arrangement with you to serve you in life and, from what it sounds like, death, killing fiends, would you let all the mortals of Elturel go back to the material plane? Surely somewhat of my power and the capabilities that I have as I get stronger will rival a bunch of fledgling fiends.
She would smile, and she would say, "You're not quite that strong yet.
Not yet.
But perhaps if you asked me that again in the future, I'd be willing to consider it. But unfortunately, based on your responses today, might not have a future." She kind of regards you. She says, "Unfortunately, I'm not sure I could let you go. It sounds as though you stick to your convictions and try to save the people of Elturel, you and I will come at odds. I do not wish to fight you, Paladin. But if you stand in the way of me and killing these demons, I'm afraid I'll have no choice, unless you have something else to offer me."
Second, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Um. Oh. Um. Guess. Trying to think of how I want to word this.
Someone's cam got turned off, by the way.
Like actually turned off.
Yeah, someone.
Oh, it's Maurice's.
It's okay, I'll just black them out for no biggies.
So, trying to figure out how I want to word this, but say that throughout most of my life, I had odd and bizarre dreams, and not sure if I was crazy or actually communicating with some sort of being. And it's recently come to my attention that it's entirely possible that you and I are of the same mate. And I'm going to attempt to activate my Radiant Soul.
Yeah, you do so. She says, she looks a little surprised. She says, "Celestial blood did have a familiarity to you." She says, "I must ask you directly, how did you come across this information?"
Speaking with the angel Gabrielle.
Her eyes grow red fire. She slams her hands on the desk, breaking it in half.
They don't move.
She pauses for a moment. And she kind of steeples her hands under her chin. And calmly, like emotionlessly, says, "What do you know of Gavriel?" She says the name. Like everything else is robotic, but the name has venom in it as she says it.
I know that she abandoned you and the other Hell Riders that were stuck here. Fled the cause. That she regrets it. But, you know, what's done is done.
Regrets, feelings. Like you said, what's done is done. Utterly ridiculous. She kind of ponders for a moment. Says, "You know where Gavriel is?" Did I lose my connection, Edmund?
Nope.
Okay, sorry.
The gears are turning.
I was terrified that you were going to bring that name up.
Yep. Oh, it was always going to happen.
I have to draw a destroyed table somehow now?
Yep. That's going to be great for when the next person comes in.
The crystal ball kind of rattles across the floor.
Yeah.
Actually, you want a number higher than 90.
Oh, God. Nope.
No, it would have been good for you if it was higher than 90.
Oh. You said I wanted a number higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I said, uh-oh, because of 53. That's bad.
It's not bad, it's just you didn't get a special bonus.
Oh, it's not bad, it's just not good. Got it.
Yeah.
Aw. Okay, so,
That would have been really good, by the way.
for shame. Yep, tell me later, after everything. So, I mean...
Give me a perception check, actually, while you're thinking of this. Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally was willing to give up his ties to Helm to save the people of Elturel. And he's being genuine about the fact that deities aren't necessarily the best moral guidelines he's found. So, not sure if it's the first time or not. I may have slipped up before, but possibly for the first time, Edmund lies and says no.
Ooh, good. Give me that deception check.
And I'm going to fail. I mean, it's charisma based.
It is charisma based.
16.
Right, it's an opposed roll. Let's see what
Yep.
she gets.
Freaking deity, garbage, god rolls.
Well, it's not that bad, right? It can't be that bad.
Maybe.
Not trained in it. She kind of calms down for a moment. Her dreams, then, I suppose. Interesting.
That is how she chooses to communicate with me. Very confusing. But she seemed to,
Dodged a bullet there.
yeah. She seems to be, somehow got the idea stuck in her head that my family lineage goes back to you.
It's possible. In the long, long past, I had vetted a mortal. I can't tell, but interesting. Just more reason for you to help me with killing all these things. It's your birthright.
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I can't.
Unfortunately, your soul is not as valuable as the inhabitants of El Terrell. So, perhaps I just keep you here. So you can't interfere with my plans. Until I find out what to do with you.
What are you going to do with the people of Elturel?
People of El Terrell will become one with Avernus. Most of them will join the front lines as Lemirs. Some of the stronger ones, perhaps, might rise in the ranks. They will be a wall against the forces of the Abyss. They will fight valiantly. Many will die. Many will kill many. There's a reason they call it the Blood War after all. I tried to end it once, I'm trying to end it now.
What's the process? What's the timetable? How long does something like this take to happen?
She
said
kind of
that-
looks up and it's like she's trying to do some mental math. She says, I suspect El Terrell will become one with Avernus within 2 weeks to a month. If I held you here until then, I think that you would be more willing to help me. You'll have time to think about how the people of El Terrell put you in this place. How your god did not help you.
The people of Elturel didn't put me here. I came here willingly.
He snickers a little bit. He says, wait a moment. Are you the same? Oh, this must be the case. There's almost no followers of Helm. It can't be coincidence. What was the young lad's name that was here? Dougal? Darwin? Ah, yes, Duncan. I think he shared the same cell as you when he was here. What did Helm do for that boy?
Nothing.
Abandoned him. Nothing. I'm here taking action. I don't sit atop my cloudy palace in Celestia watching things happen. I'm trying to actually take action here. Fix what's wrong. Eventually usurp the rulership of the Nine Hells. And end
And then
them.
what?
What'd you say?
I said, and then what?
End them. Close the realms permanently. After
Even
the threat of the...
Asmodeus?
What?
Even Asmodeus?
She says, especially Asmodeus. He thought he was taking advantage of me in a moment of weakness. I was taking advantage of him. The threat from the inside, as they say. Smiles. I think you need some time to think about this, young paladin.
I think. Think more about what I offer. If there's a timetable, and it's going to take you a while, then it doesn't hurt for you to allow me the time to reach an adequate level of strength that you would deem worthy of freeing the people of Elturel.
I could do that after El Terrell has fallen.
That's part of the deal, though. There is no deal without Elturel.
We'll see. I think you'll be a broken man. After you failed in your quest, you'll be desperate. You've already lost one follower. What will happen when you lose an entire city? I will give your life purpose. She stands from her chair abruptly. Come, let's return you to your cell.
He's been like white knuckling the sides of the chair. Gets back up.
Yeah, she seems completely passive. She was. You saw a moment of. You probably had goosebumps when she broke the desk, but she's calm again. She'll lead you back to your cell. Is there anything you want to do on the way?
Before
Yeah.
we leave the room, I have to think really long and hard about this.
Oh boy. Oh boy. What are you gonna do? Don't fuck up.
Man, I don't think he's to that point yet. But I don't know when he get another chance. Um,
Amu.
yeah, as she goes to leave,
Yeah.
like I guess she like walks past Edmund or whatever. He's still in his chair,
Yep.
and he very defeatedly says, "What about Gabriel? Or what about for Gabriel?"
She turns with menace. Say that. What do you mean?
People of El Toro. Gabriel.
You know where she is?
I can find her.
She smiles very widely. Good. We'll talk. She keeps walking, her stride looking more confident than before. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, that was the last card I had.
It's a good card, and it will probably be very useful.
It's not something he wanted to do, but I've been affecting his ass with numbers games.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about some of that after session, by the way.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna wave everybody.
Yep.
I think someone posted something like that. Hey, Maurice. Is everyone else back?
I'm back.
All right, cool. Eldrin is, Edmund is brought back to his cell by Zariel. Edmund probably has. Well, Edmund, what's the look on your face right now?
Pretty deflated / defeated.
Oh, defeated.
Zariel has a big grin on her face.
Yeah, he's the juxtaposition of Zariel's face.
Yeah, it's like the drama masks, you know.
The mask, yeah, comedy and tragedy. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and take an early break because I don't want to interrupt the next chat. All right, we're back. All right, sorry everybody that just came back. You're gonna have a little bit of a longer break as Zariel unlocks Derek's cell and ushers him to follow. If everyone can go back on Deafin and
Back on Deafin, here we go.
Mm.
and I'll drag you down, Derek. All right, Derek. I assume you're not going to do anything along the way. If you are, let me know. Otherwise, you are brought into a ornate chamber. And
Okay.
it's a very interesting room. In the center of the room, there's a table that seems to have been split in half, and there is a ball that seems to have a crystal ball that seems to have rolled across the floor to the bottom of an armor stand. To the west side of the room, there's a weapons crate with weapons meant for large creatures. There is bedding and pillows in this room. You presume that this is Zariel's actual residence on this flying vessel. The northeast, you see a particularly large and well-made chest made of a similar material that the ship is made out of. It it seems to be important, well-made and very large compared to a normal chest. Very disconcerting. To the far north on the wall, you see a portrait of Antamila.
Okay.
And Zariel
Does
sits
it
down
look-
and ushers for you to sit. Go ahead.
Okay. Does it look like a recent
Give
Antamila,
me-
or maybe like from her younger years, kind of?
Oh, it looks like Antamila as you see her very recently, like a day ago, like very
Gotcha.
recent. Zariel sits down in a throne-like chair, crosses her legs, and asks for you to sit.
So she is currently sitting there.
Yep.
Yeah, I will walk over and sit.
She just kind of sits there and regards you for a moment, and kind of she looks at the table and she says, I'm not much for pleasantries, but I do apologize that the table is the state it is. Sometimes negotiations don't go the way you expect. I'm hoping that my negotiations with you go better. You seem to have a way with words. What was your name?
My name is Derek.
And what brings you to my realm, Derek?
Truth be told, rather interested in the companion.
Oh. Why?
If I'm to be honest, it makes me feel very uneasy and back in the material plane. When I originally saw it, I became quite fascinated, and then of course we got caught up in this El Terrell's situation, as I had previously mentioned.
Caught up seems to be implying that you weren't seeking to help El Terrell. I've heard differently from your comrades.
I personally wanted to understand more about the companion and the power it possesses. Of course, overall, the party wanted to help El Terrell, which I feel is reasonable. I'm here. I have the means, I feel, to protect some of these people. So I'll do what I can when I can.
He would say, well, these people do not deserve to be saved. In fact, in their loss, they'll be doing more good in their death than they did in their life. And she kind of eyes you suspiciously. Says, if you're not here to save them, you just want to know about El Terrell. Sounds like you might be willing to help them, but you don't seem committed to it. She kind of says this out loud, like she's kind of thinking to herself out loud. I think that I know what you need to know. And it would be very easy for me to give it to you, I suppose, if we made an arrangement.
What would you suggest?
Well, I don't know what you're quite capable of, but your other friends were able to offer me things that help me with my agenda here in Avernus. Killing demons being the primary driver of my purpose. What can you do for me that will lead to the destruction of demons in Avernus? Pardon.
Well, I like to think of myself as a powerful sorcerer, and I find the longer that I stay here, the more my powers are developing. Just to put quite straightforward, powerful magic that I want to understand and control wherever that's put to use. And not a particular fan of demons. We've been attacked by several, I mean many, on this crazy adventure of ours.
Your friend, Eldrin, I think it was, said he would potentially need help with what he was trying to do. I wonder if I can make a similar arrangement with you. I could tell you what you need to know about the companion. Probably everything you need to know about the companion. If in exchange you agree help Eldrin rid Avernus of Smiler the Defiler, and agree that I send you home afterwards, and not interfere with my plans. What do you say? Your friend was willing to make the deal.
And what of the other two, Anthamila and Edmund?
The paladin I might have to have further discussion with. Antamila, that what you call her? Interesting. Also requires the discussion. I imagine no harm coming to them.
Can I incite that last part?
Yeah,
No harm to the friends.
sure. You know, when she says things with that devil's tongue, kind of hard to disbelieve her. Sounds
Yep.
genuine. Eldrin's slow.
All right.
She genuinely seems to be being genuine, from what you can pick up Winky Face. She says, "Look, all I want is to kill demons and eventually devils. I need a powerful force to deal with the constant incursion of demons into Avernus. And I can't have a bunch of travelers from another place attempting to interfere with me taking El Terrell and bolstering my forces with it. Doesn't really make much sense. So, whatever decision we make, I think needs to make sure that don't interfere with me. But I would certainly be willing to negotiate for your freedom if it does not involve El Terrell." Well, what do you say? Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, I had
If
to make sure my
no
internet didn't die.
harm. Yeah, sorry about that. If no harm will come to my compatriots, I have no issue helping to get rid of Smiler.
She'll think for a moment. And she says, hold on, how would she do this? She says, I would certainly agree to not harm your companions while they're on my ship. As long as you agree to help with Smiler and leave Avernus afterwards. That is an important thing. I don't want you here, scurrying about, as roaches are known to do.
So let me rephrase. If you can provide us protection from your forces, I will assist. So you say, and he'll say, it's, excuse me for the slight disrespect here, but you say that you won't harm us on the ship. What happens once we have left this structure?
She says, I have no reason to harm you if you're fighting my enemies. Or if you leave Avernus. But if for some reason don't come through, I need to have a guarantee, if you will.
I don't quite understand. What guarantee would you speak of?
She smiles and says, It's nothing to worry about. She says, I can give you the information you want about the companion, how it was made, why it was there, why it's here now, what's inside it.
Derek's rubbing his hands below the table, like, yeah, excellent.
But, again, I must insist that you help Eldrin, and then you leave Avernus afterwards.
Unfortunately, this comes back, circle round to, if I help Eldrin, do not wish harm on my friends and Edmund and Anthemilla. Also have them leave with us. Their safe passage from Avernus as well.
That depends entirely on them, she says, but I can assure you. She looks towards the painting of Anthemilla on the wall. I have no intention of harming her. And she would say, simply, letting you go after invading my realm would be seen as weak, unless I get something from it. Your friend Eldrin was willing to negotiate with me, so I was able to secure his release. Edmund and Antemila's release is entirely on them. Unfortunately, I cannot make decisions on their behalf. And unfortunately, I don't believe you are in position to negotiate for the release as it stands. Seems like I have information you need, as well as your freedom in my hands. You have the potential to help me with Smiler, but I'm not even sure if you're up to task. Do you see how the scale weighs in my favor?
I think I definitely grasp the severity of the issue, the place that I am in.
Look, I think this is the most reasonable deal. I assure you that I do not intend to harm you if you do not intend to interfere with my plans. The only person so far that's been dead set in interfering with El Terrell was the Paladin of Helm. And he does have something I am interested in. Perhaps, you know what? Perhaps there is a way you can negotiate for Edmund's release, as well as your own. If you could tell me the location of the angel Gavriel, you might secure your friend's release for him. He would never need to know.
What?
Spicy.
Yeah, 1 second.
So, I'll lay this out for you again.
Uh-huh.
1. I offer you information about the companion. I offer you the release of yourself and Edmund. And I offer you safe passage home, the location of your choice. In exchange, you must assist Eldrin in dealing with Smiler the Defiler, and your exit from Avernus will happen immediately after that has happened.
I think I understand those terms. What I would like to do, I will respond to her saying I don't know where Gathriel is. I suppose that's a bit of like lie by omission.
That's a huge one if you say that. Are you, so you're gonna say you don't
Because
know where
again, like
Gabriel is?
I don't specifically know where she is, right? But I do.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like
hiding
Elturel,
something.
right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
1000%.
Again, so it's not a bold, straight white lie, but it is definitely a lie by admission.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to, when she was asking about that, that's how I would respond. Is, you know,
Give me a deception
I'm not
check.
sure where she is. Oh, everybody's gonna love this.
Good luck. Ooh, it's a good one.
Damn, I should have used my inspiration for that too.
It
Forgot
wouldn't
I
have
had
mattered. If it makes you feel better, it wouldn't have mattered. She says,
Okay.
you see her eyes light up for a moment, but she remains calm. She says, don't play coy. The Paladin has already said he knows where she is. You must know you travel with him. Don't be a fool. You could secure your freedom and his freedom. There's not even a guarantee anything bad will happen, right? You could always tell yourself, perhaps Zariel means to have a pleasant conversation with Gavriel. Edmund would never need to know.
I don't know. I have my suspicions. What if I can find out where she is for you?
It's not good enough. The deal on the table is as it stands. It says information about where Gavriel is, as well as assisting Eldrin with dealing with Smiler the Defiler, and then leaving Avernus immediately upon completion of dealing with Smiler the Defiler. Those are the terms. Think of it, you could be a hero. You're helping yourself, you're helping your friends, your conscience is clear.
I have no qualms helping the removal of Smiler. When would we have to do that?
Well, as soon as possible, of course. I would not define the terms. I trust that as brave adventurers and based on Eldrin's eagerness, I intend to handle that situation soon.
Would we get any support, or just our
My forces are marshaled
covert?
towards El Terrell, unfortunately, dealing with the demonic incursions. If I were able to spare forces to deal with Smiler, I would have done so already. It would not be a thorn in my side.
Of course.
But you're new arrivals, and you have something to potentially offer me. This is quite fortuitous, don't you think? You have a way to negotiate your freedom.
I agree.
You have a way to find out what it is you seek. All you have to do. And as you've been talking, you didn't notice this before. She has a fully signed contract written down in front of her. She's holding a quill made from a feather dipped in an inkwell, which is presumably blood. And in plain common, very cut and dry common, there is a contract in front of you describing the terms as they were laid out by me.
Okay. As she's saying this, and I guess I would read this. May I do a investigation?
Yeah.
Just for any. Just trying to think if I want to inspire. Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. Anyways, just checking to see if there's anything
Any bamboozles?
spicy. Yeah, spicy worded. Oh, come on.
Good troll. It actually, compared to other stuff you've seen from Devils, where their words are a little bit dicey and ambiguous, the effective, what I had said to you, the intent is as stated. There's no bamboozles from what you could see. It seems to be written in very plain common, intentionally. She says, I don't like devils. Their contracts are very convenient. But I don't deal with the shenanigans and tomfoolery involved with trying to trick people. I simply want what is promised, and I don't like when people try to renege on their promises.
I can respect that. So, for my clarity, for my freedom, I would help Eldrin remove Smiler immediately, upon which I'd be sent out of Avernus.
Yep, in addition, you will need to reveal the location of Gavriel, and she will offer you information about the companion. Pretty good deal.
Okay, so then if it is the part with Gavriel, does that include Edmund's presumed safe passage as well?
Yes.
Okay.
One thing you'd notice with the investigation is it does not say Edmund's removal from Avernus after Smiler is dealt with.
Okay.
But he would get free passage from the keep.
And supposed out of curiosity, if we couldn't come to an arrangement, how would we move at that injuncture?
Oh, well, I think the easiest way to make sure that things stay on the level, we would wait 2 weeks to a month for El Terrell to become one with Avernus, and then we can attempt renegotiate. But I'm convinced that you will not interfere with my plans.
So I suppose you mean by the several weeks you're speaking of, I'd be captive here.
Yes, she says bluntly.
Yeah, but at this point, it's like being pretty frank here. Like, okay, you mean to hold me captive?
Yeah.
Um,
It's always your choice, though, Derek.
very well. I will accept your offer.
She nods and passes you the quill. You sign.
Yeah, I begin signing. Sign my life away.
Cool. She rolls up the parchment, puts it in a pouch. She tells you that the companion is a device crafted by Bell, which uses the power of a trapped solar to generate natural sunlight. And she can't say how that relates to you anyway in regards to why, because you didn't really mention that piece to the funky powers stuff.
Yep.
But she would add that she no longer has a use for the companion. So she would tell you that the way to unlock the companion is by way of 9 adamantium rods, which can be found in the wreckage of a flying fortress past fire tornado fields to the southeast. Is there anything else you want to know about the companion?
I guess like what was its original purpose? So she's saying like she has no use for it now. What?
Yeah.
Why? Why was it in the first place then?
Yeah, there was someone that she needed leverage with to make a deal. The man's name was Davies Krieg. And actually, I'm sorry, not Davies Krieg. No, it was Krieg. Davies Krieg, there was a vampire problem in El Terrell. And they prayed for assistance. Their gods did not answer them, of course, being the non-interventionist they are. Instead, I answered, and I provided them a solution to their vampire problem. A solar incendiator with the ability to create natural sunlight, effective against vampires. El Terrell was purged within just a few days of the undead menace. That was its original purpose. We just had to, throw solar in there, though.
Understood. And you said this was one of Bell's creations?
She would nod and say, Bell's responsible for all of these infernal contraptions. He has a forge in a volcano, the northeast. I'm not sure if he'll be able to give you much more information than what I've given you. About it. That is pretty much its purpose, what it was made for. Now that it was effectively the way that I negotiated for Elturel to be here today. It has served its purpose. I have no need for it anymore.
And if you don't mind my asking, based on some of these gossiping devils throughout that we've come across, I thought you weren't in particularly good terms with Bell.
She laughs. She says, I try to avoid him as much as possible. He tries to avoid me as much as possible. I'm sure he's a bit sour that I took his place as ruler of Avernus. But he's a predictable, additional devil. The demons grew accustomed to his tactics, if you could call them tactics. He has no military prowess. Asmodeus saw that I was effective in my means, and set Bell to be my advisor. Not too fond of that. Still quite powerful, though. Obviously not as powerful as me, but be cautious if you intend to speak with Bell for any reason. So she kind of impatiently leans forward, uncomfortably close to you, Derek. So, where? Gavriel. Get goosebumps again. Your hairs kind of stand up on end. She has like venom whenever she says the name Gavriel.
Mhm. We encountered her several days ago, like a week, roughly. I'll say a week. And almost just as quickly as she came, she left. The last time, from my understanding, she was heading towards the northeast from heading northeast from our location, and I'd describe that kind of section of Avernus.
She would nod and say, did she say where she was going in particular?
If my memory recalls, I believe she was heading to Eldrael.
Did she say why she was here?
I don't recall. Alex legitimately doesn't recall.
Well,
So
I will remind you due to in-character relevance, I suppose, that you heard Gavriel tell Edmund that she intended to, that they needed to redeem Zariel.
okay. I will say Gavriel was speaking ridiculous words of redemption. She felt she had betrayed, a battle many eons ago, and she wanted to do right.
She kind of laughs to herself. Excellent. Excellent, Derek. Excellent. Okay. Well, you have given me what I've needed. She kind of stands abruptly, says, let's take you back to your friends, get you prepared for your release. Very soon. I just need to speak with the others. Or I could release you in advance if you'd like. If you'd like to wait outside.
Oh, that's interesting. No, I'll wait for Eldrin, and hopefully Edmund and Anthamila will come to an understanding with you.
Well, you've already made the understanding for Edmund, fortunately. He might be suspicious. I certainly wouldn't tell him what you told me. And she says, well, okay, if you want to wait, I will bring you back to your cell. And then, I'll have a discussion with the others, and you'll be on your way soon enough. Did good today, Derek. Alright. She proceeds to try to usher you out of the room. Take you back to the cell area. Is there anything you want to do?
I you'll probably be like talking with people, but we can probably do that after Anthemilla's stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, I don't think any more interactions with her.
All right, let's wave to everybody. Guys, you back?
Doesn't
Guys.
look like it.
No, they don't even see me.
Oh no.
What do I do?
Baby, come back. Well, we got one.
What about Maurice and Eldrin?
You're usually pretty good on looking at the chat. Discord.
Will you come by? I was reading all of your lips. I know everything you said.
If that roll.
All right, you guys are back. Yeah, that was funny. All right, Derek comes back. Derek, tell everyone the look on your face as you come back.
Not pleasant.
What does Zarya look like?
Zariel practically looks like she's skipping. She's having a good day.
Oh, she looks happier than when she was with Edmund.
Yeah, she's walking on sunshine.
I'll choose to believe it's cumulative. She's not that proportionately happier. She just, it's stacking up.
She spends a long time in front of Lulu's cell and eventually opens the door and just starts walking. And the Hollyphant slowly flies behind her. Alright, is there anything you want to do while Lulu is being talked with?
You said Edmund is one of the people next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I'm going to try to whisper to Edmund enough, be like, Edmund, can you hear me? Without trying to draw attention. I don't know if we need to do checks.
If you're whispering just to each other, it's fine.
Okay.
Then, yeah. I mean, assuming I can hear him, then yeah, I would whisper back if I can.
I'll whisper over to Edmund and say, Edmund, we've had our differences. I can't make you understand why I did the things that I did. But do believe me, I was only trying to help you.
Do, Ray.
And that's all I say. I think too much would probably bring attention.
Okay. Is anyone else doing anything during this time?
Considering everyone keeps getting pulled off into a different room and questioned, I'm going to ask my mom what the heck Zariel questioned her about.
Oh, about you.
Just me. What did you tell her?
Well, I told her about, stuff a mum would tell people about, growing up, what you did for your da, your time in temple. She was willing to lend an ear. I was kind of bored. And I love telling stories about you, Andamila.
Big pale evil winged lady get you in a cage and you can't just maybe make some stuff up.
Is this... What's the harm in telling her that you stubbed your toe? The one time, temple door...
I swear, if she brings up something about me stubbing my toe...
It's innocent banter, I promise. All right. All right. Zariel comes back and starts walking to Altamila's cage. You would notice that Lulu is not with her.
Where's Lulu?
She actually doesn't have a smile on her face like she did with everybody else. She has it like a dispassionate look, and opens her cell on Tamila. She says, "Come. We have much to discuss."
Hmm. Okay.
All right, everybody. I'm bringing Maurice to the secret chat session.
Oh, deaf and dumb.
This is the last one, friends. Don't worry. Definite mute. Definite mute.
Well,
I'll try and make it take 120 seconds or minutes. Excuse me.
All right. You are brought down to a ornate-looking room that was guarded by two bearded devils, and pardon me, drinking soda and eating food. It's a disaster.
Difficult combo.
Yep. And Zariel sits down in a throne-like chair and ushers for you to sit. Looking in the room, you see a armor statue, which is probably where she puts her armor when she's not wearing it. On the ground, you see something that looks like a crystal ball. To the west, you see a weapons crate with weapons made for a large creature. You see a table in the center of the room that is cracked in half. Don't know what happened there. There's bedding on the floors with pillows. You presume that this is probably the main place where Zariel rests. To the northeast, you see a very large and nice chest. And it looks to be made of the same stuff as the ship. It's a 10 by 10 chest. It's probably got some stuff in there. Most disconcerting to you, however, is to the far north on the wall is a portrait of you.
Like me.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that look like you.
Someone who looks like me, I guess.
There's not really anybody that looks like you.
Is it like me, as in like someone drew a portrait of me in armor and I know it's me, or is it like something that looks just like me? Like,
It's very obviously you.
Great Merle. Okay, that's phenomenal.
That's creepy. Why do you have that?
She turns and looks. She says, "You wounded me. I drew this myself. I thought it was quite accurate."
No, it's not the fact that it's drawn that's creepy. It's the fact that you have it. Why are you drawing pictures of it?
Sit. Also of note, you don't seem to notice Lulu in this room, by the way.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second.
Suppose you feel like standing.
I'll sit if you tell me what happened to Lulu. Where is she?
Oh, she's back home.
What do you mean back home?
I sent her back to the material plane. This is not a place for a creature like that.
So Lulu's safe?
I assume. You got to pick the location where she was sent. Are you there? My internet die? Nope. Frozen on me. Maurice! Let's check the phone. We probably got a Facebook. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. I like it. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Wiggly waggly arms. You guys there?
Did he freeze?
Yeah, it looks like he froze. So,
Oh, maybe he's coming back.
maybe.
Funny though.
Yeah, it had to be when it was during his one-on-one, right?
Yeah. I mean, he did drop doing the other ones. A couple times. I don't know about this long.
Are you back?
It's actually usually a good sign.
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Alright, let me black out the cameras, I think.
Okay.
All right, try this again.
Yeah.
See ya.
All right. Oh my
See ya.
God. I left off on the longest one. The camera was fine, no problems. Second one went out once. You know, now it's like, you need to say something? Okay, disconnect. Okay, disconnect. Okay, disconnect. I'm gonna fucking love this. All right, so I want to do an insight check on if Lulu is safe or not, if she's lying about that.
She seems to be being genuine.
Okay, continue.
She ushers for you to sit.
Well, she answered it, so I'll sit.
She says, "What are you doing here, young one? Why are you in my realm?"
That is a multi-pronged question and answer. I mean, for one, you have my ma in cages down here, and then my father is somewhere in here. I think I ran into him at some point. So, like, that seems to be a reasonable assessment of something I might want to undo, possibly.
Sure. She answers calmly. No other reasons.
I'm sure
You sure what?
I'm sure there are loads of other reasons I have now. Loads. The weather is just lovely this time of year.
Hmm.
The locals, oh my god, best people to chat with ever.
Oh! Sarcastic, got it. She kind of fakes a laugh. And kind of looks awkwardly. Yes. So. It's hard for me to secure your release without understanding your purpose of being here. If it's simply for your mother and father, that's simple enough. I'm sure we could come to an arrangement for their freedom. If you're able to help me somehow.
Well, how in the world am I, a lowly orphan tiefling, supposed to help the Lord of Avernus?
The same way that most mortals tend to help me.
Wigs?
Wait, what?
Wigs.
You say that?
Yes.
Rude. She kind of doesn't seem to get it. She says, "Oh, that's a joke about oh." Ha 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 ha. She fakes a laugh again. You can tell that she's
When's the last time you've had a normal conversation? Jeez.
about 10 minutes ago, actually.
Well, I mean, like, never mind.
I see. So, if it's simply for the release of your mother and father, I could, I could secure the release for you. How about this? If you agree to kill Archon the Cruel, I could secure the release of both of them back to the material plane of a place of your choosing.
Ooh, repeat that if I do what again?
Kill Archon the Cruel. Bring me his hand as proof. His left hand.
So you want me to kill Archon and bring you his hand, and my father and mother will be released to the material plane to a place of their choosing,
Yes, simple.
and released from their contract that got them here in the first place?
Uh, they had already voided the contract, so yes.
Okay. Why do you want Archon dead? And
Well,
also, still, the picture of me on a wall. Why?
she says, I want Archon dead. Because he is the chosen of Tiamat.
Keep hearing that name thrown around.
And Tiamat has been a thorn in my side in Avernus for quite some time. Asmodeus considers her to be his pet. Far too dangerous, unpredictable. I cannot act against her directly, as it would cause Asmodeus to act against me. He seems to like her presence here, as a ward against the further layers of hell.
So you want Osmodeus to act against me instead?
You were
No.
not beholden to Asmodeus. I mean, he might seek vengeance, of course, but she would just shrug.
Hmm. Okay. Just like Tiamat. I guess that makes sense. Picture on the wall?
She says, I will add it to the agreement. The information as to why I drew a picture of you on the wall.
In normal conversations, that wouldn't be something that's that big of a deal to say now. Unless it is a big of a deal to say now. Why would that be?
She shrugs and she says, since I've been here, I learned that information is leverage. Sweeten the pot, if you.
Hmm.
What's simple request for you? And it's probably a very simple answer for me. It
A
incentivizes
simple
you.
request. If it were simple to kill a champion of Tiamat, wouldn't somebody else have already done it?
I don't think anybody has a brash enough nature to invade Avernus and then invade the layer of Tiamat. But you're already halfway there. You're further than most.
Most people aren't thrust into headlong suicidal quests without some sort of actual reward.
I'll do your reward.
Well, that's an agreement to go ahead and get it done, I imagine. So if I do manage to do that, what happens to me after that?
Well, I would send you home.
And the rest of my companions?
She sits there and thinks for a moment. I believe most of them have already made arrangements to go home, actually.
Even Edmund?
He is the one holdout.
So what would secure his release?
I don't think he wants to go.
What do you mean?
She smiles and says, information, leverage.
Oh. I don't know if I know anything that you would care to know, but I would like to know that bit of information.
Which? You've asked for a lot.
Why? I tend to do that. You never know what you can get until they say no.
Sure. So, what do you say? I give you information as to why the portrait is on the wall. Why there is a portrait of you on the wall. I secure your freedom from the fortress here, so that you may complete the task of killing Archon the Cruel and bringing me his left arm. Upon completion, will send you back to your home. Thanks for a little longer. Was that everything? Did you freeze on me?
No, I'm thinking.
Oh, Jesus, you like I looked at you and you were stone cold, like dead still. I thought you froze again.
Sorry, I should probably do this on camera because we do this the whole time. Like, Okay.
I suppose that sounds somewhat reasonable, except for the small, eensy weensy teeny fact that there's probably no way I'm going to succeed in that particular mission without
don't know.
assistance.
Perhaps if you isolated Archon. I will say that it is unlikely that you are able to defeat him head on. He has legions of undead. He has allies. But perhaps your circumstances will allow you to meet with him alone.
What
With a small group.
circumstances?
He shrugs. He says, I have a feeling he'll want to talk to you.
So if I just show up without knowing the manner of these circumstances, what are the chances I'm going to end up dead?
High if you have nothing to offer. I've seen you have some interesting items with you, though. Perhaps you can offer tribute. Seek audience with him. I don't intend to tell you how to do your job. All I ask is that you do it.
And you'll... Okay. I might want a little bit more for this, because either I'm going to make it or I'm going to die, so... Is there anything you can tell me about what this whole deal is with me and Tiamat at all?
She thinks for a moment. What do you mean you and that?
Well, cultists kept trying to kidnap me, and I imagine that there's a reason for that.
Interesting. As you share this in freely. In She would say that she doesn't know why Matt would have any interest in.
Insight that.
Sure. $22.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be being truthful. Seems like she just has a mission that she wants you to accomplish from what you're gauging.
Interesting.
Oh.
I mean, I spied the crystal ball, obviously. Would I be able to infer that, I mean, she was the one scrying, obviously, would I be able to infer that directly in character?
You could piece that together, sure. Her eyes look similar to the arcane sensor that appeared above your head.
There we go. Yeah, that would do it.
So, were you just, with all the scrying, were you just tracking us down to pick us up and have us do your nefarious whatevers?
There was invaders in my realm that... Hold on, she's going to say a name that you don't recognize. Let me just... That's... Free? Where did I put it? Like Hippiel warned me about. And like Hippiel, it's a
I'm gonna
coward by
misspell
nature.
that.
I'll paste it in chat. They're a coward. Well, they were a coward by nature. I expected them to fail in their mission. And I gave them a cursed item that simply activated first person for it. You were the first person to wear it.
So that little thing's name was Vikipio.
Oh, she kind of looks surprised. Says, I was to understand that your group had spent some time with them.
Yeah, you could say that.
Surprised they didn't even have the decency to give you their name.
Oh, it was Pip-Kip, I do believe.
Oh yeah, that's what they came up with her. Oh, that's right. And then she kind of laughs. I forgot the Avernus name. Oh yes, I forgot. My apologies.
Very strange.
She shrugs. Well, it's no more, so
Well,
I
If
hope
we're
you
going
prove
for
to be
broke-
more valuable than them.
oh, this is just an agreement. I'm not technically working for you.
Sure, call it what you want.
It's a conflux of convergence of conveniences. Yes.
She shrugs. So, you notice that in front of her, suddenly there's a piece of paper with details written on it of presumably the contractual variety. Seems to have kind of apparated. What do you say? She pauses for a moment and says, Anthamila.
What, to the contract?
The agreement. For you to...
Kill Archon and return with his left hand, and you'll release me and my father and my mother to the material plane unharmed.
Well,
Release
yes, they
many
go. So, hold on.
contracts previously held with you.
Let me write these down for you because yours is a complicated.
I suppose.
You're asking for a lot of stuff, so I'm going to Facebook it to you.
It's not
So-
that complicated.
So one. Return father and mother to the material plane on accepting contract place of their choice. 2. Turn on Damila for home upon killing Archon the Cruel and return left arm to Ariel. 3. Ariel will grant a passage to give her ship. 4. Zariel will tell Anthamila why she has a portrait of her on the wall. What else was there? Is that it?
I mean, I suppose that's it for our current agreement.
Well, she will write all of those things down. Make sure I'm not forgetting any. Real planned. Dario will grant free passage. Yep. Okay. That is what is currently on the table.
And I assume there's nothing else we can help you with?
She says, no. She says, as long as you are dealing with my enemies and then leaving my domain, that is all I care about.
Dealing with your enemies, leaving your domain. Got it. So you're not going to kill us all. That's refreshing for once.
What do you think I am? Some kind of monster?
We've been here for like 2 weeks.
This is all I want to do is kill demons and devils. Pretty simple goal.
It's very straightforward.
The contract is also written in, like, plain common. No big words or fancy words. But if you want to give me an investigation check to check for any sort of bamboozles, please feel free to do so. But it is written very plainly.
I'll still do an investigation check just to be on the safe side.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a good one, but might as well check it.
Yeah, so to you it seems pretty cut and dry.
Oh, I hate how you worded that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you've seen contracts before, like Pipkip's was filled with fanciful words in a different language, double lines. Like this one is well spaced, bullet pointed, very simple. Like intended to be plain to read.
Okay. So that will secure the release of my mother and father and me. Great. Marvelous.
Your other friends have already been secured to leave as well, so...
Will we be able to just go on about our journey, all of us that you've just caged up today?
Yeah. Oh, the reason I have the portrait of you on the wall is quite simple, actually. She says, she looks down at the crystal ball in the ground. She says, it makes it easier to scry on you in the future. He smiles wide.
Investigate.
Investigate.
Or insight, whatever. They start with I, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you get the impression that she is being honest about that. And she kind of notices you staring intently. And she says, what other reason could there be? And then she says, Lathialas. And she kind of ushers you out of the room.
Lathialas?
I'll post it on in chat.
Did she say that to me, as in, like, Nate?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Lathialas. Okie dokie. And she's ushering me out of the room.
Wait a minute! Who's this Lathialas?
She smiles and says, she says, information is leverage.
Well, what the hell do I have to get for that one?
Well, we could talk about that after you complete your first task. And she said she will say something. Do you speak Infernal?
Yes.
She says something to you in Infernal, and she says, sometimes pawns can advance across the board and become queens. She says that to you in Infernal, as she kind of leads you out of the room.
That seems slightly insulting.
I like to think of it as inspirational. Okay, let's bring everyone else back in. Is there anything you want to do on your way back up?
I do want to.
Oh
Well,
my god.
I do. I wanted to ask about something before I left the room, but I think she was already ushering me out, so I don't know.
Yeah,
if
she's effectively got what she's wanted from you.
Oh god.
So we'll see how you guys handle this. Next time on Dragon Ball Z. dragging you back up. All of you are let out of your cells.
What did the? I'm gonna. I'm gonna. Oh yeah. I didn't want that to take too long. I need to ask a question.
Yeah, you could say it. I'm not gonna tell. I'll tell you if she's gonna answer it or not. She'll probably
Well,
answer you.
it's more like I can see it. So like, what does does it look like she just drew the picture, or?
It looks pretty recent. Yes, you see paints
Okay.
on her table,
Okay.
and it
All right.
depicts you as you were, actually when you were wearing the hat. So
So, look at that.
yeah,
Oh,
pretty recent.
Jeez, this woman has a lot of time in her hands.
You see. Tell everyone how your facial expression looks as you approach Aunt Amila.
So she's leading me in, and you know how a kid might have been told something that was they couldn't have something, but they're still excited about what they just learned, but it's like sort of a angry excitement. It's that sort of face, that sort of looking at her in a kind of quizzical, but like, you're not giving me enough, you damn cold stone. But this seems like it didn't go as bad as I thought it was gonna go.
It's like the pain you feel when you realize that you can't always be a Toys R Us kid.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I know that feeling.
Unfortunately, now no one can be.
Well, that was always the bitter truth. It just became a little more pronounced.
Concrete, solid.
Now
Is
the
it weird to
spirit-
think in 5 years that new people being born as children won't even know what that was? Like, know what a Toys R Us is at all?
Oh no!
That's
Oh no!
weird
There's
to me.
internet. They'll know what.
Such
They'll
is
know what
life.
it is.
Alright, so you see that look on Ultimila's face, and Zariel still starts to open all of your cell doors. And Ultimila's mom is let out last. She says, "Oh, Ultimila, what did you..." Boop. And mid-sentence, she just disappears.
Look at Anthemila's reaction.
Yeah.
I could have at least said goodbye.
Zariel shrugs. I gave you more time than the contract stipulated, actually. Notably, the cell to the northwest does not open. There's just a sobbing, fat, pudgy demon with wings in the corner, just constantly sobbing.
Hey, what's the deal with the fat pudgy demon?
And she just kind of starts to mouth what she was saying before to you. Information. Come on. How's the rest of it go?
Comes at a price.
Yeah, it's leverage. Anyway, so yeah, feel free to take your stuff and get out of my fortress. The wailing sounds start to stop and the vibrations of the ship moving seem to stop. And we're left unaccosted. You take your stuff from the chest. Do what you will.
I absolutely get all my stuff in, put all that stuff back on. And
Yep.
Yep.
Did during this time Lulu did not return?
No.
I guess while we're getting ready, I'd ask Aunt Villa, was Lulu in there with you?
No.
Does anyone know what happened to her?
Yes.
Is there anything we can do about it right now?
No.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
put it-
I'll trust you. And I get my stuff on.
Alright, you guys strap up. None of your stuff is missing, actually. Everyone has
Ow.
all the stuff they came in with.
Nice.
They lost any loot. Everyone did a really good job in their negotiations. Kind of.
I'm gonna go and check on
Mostly.
Old Drac real quick.
We shall see. What did Derek do now?
What'd you say, Antamila?
I'm gonna go check on Old Drac, since you know.
Oh yeah, he's out too. I just don't have a token for him.
I don't know. She just threw him in the cage with his face, like was holding his face. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
he might be.
I thought it was this.
Yeah, he's okay.
All right.
He was
Wait, so are we
negotiated
just-
for.
Or just given free reign? Like, to move about?
Oh no,
or-
there. Zariel would say, "Well, it's time for you to get off my ship. Let me escort you off."
All right.
To the cafeteria.
We don't get a grand tour? My God.
Seen most of it. Oh my god! By the way, this entire ship is not in the book. I made the entire damn ship. I have floor by floor descriptions with hidden treasure and everything. It's ridiculous. The
You
book
want a
has.
pat on the back. You're not going
Yes.
to get it because of the dynamic lighting bars. You know you can see through bars, right? You can stick your head out of the bars. It's very simple.
You know what? You know what? If you had inspiration. Wait, do you have inspiration?
I do.
Alright, well, I'm gonna let you keep it this time. But know that last time you made fun of my maps, you lost it.
Oh,
That was
that's
good.
great. But the bars, the dynamic lighting on the bars, that touch is just sadistic.
Well, I was expecting you to run into a situation where somebody would want to use like Mage Hand on the keys, and not everyone would necessarily have vision of the keys from the bars, and because of the way they're just shh. You're
How
escorted
long
off
did
the-
the entire interrogation take?
a while. Probably about 3 hours between everybody.
Checks out.
It's-
Looks at the time, 10:16.
Yep, it's about that time.
Wow, I didn't even I didn't even think about IRL time, but yeah, that's about right.
We
Yeah.
did it.
Nailed it.
Nice. Okay.
Alright.
Zariel would say, like you're kind of going down the stairs, and she would start talking about Smiler, the Defiler, actually, as you're going. To help you, I cannot provide any forces, obviously, but seeing is that is likely your closest destination to what you plan on accomplishing next. I can tell you, be aware of the pools of water. They're not what they seem. In fact, there are many illusions where Smiler is currently held up. But especially avoid the pool of water unless you want things like or eyes and other strange things like that. Don't go in the water.
You sound like that couldn't be useful.
Well, actually. And she would say, our resident medic on the ship has been experimenting, and sometimes there are useful enhancements that come with exposure to demon ichor, but I personally wouldn't want to chance it if I were you. You actually walk by the floor where the medical bay is, which is like a floor down, and you see that Abishai, like, actually, ironically, cutting off finger tentacles from the imp that was lying there before. His hands had been extended, where, like, his fingers had become tentacles, and she just kind of grimaces a little bit as she kind of leads you back down for the rest of the ship. Get to the bottom, you're let out, and she says, "Pleasure doing business with you. I hope you all complete what you agreed to." And then...
Quick question, considering what we're about to do and where we're about to go and the people we're about to have fun conversations with Miss Zariel. Would they not be able to tell that one would be scryed upon?
What?
You know, if we go in there and they're like, oh, you have somebody spying on you, we're going to kill you now. Something like that. Kind of would like to avoid that particular scenario.
She would look a bit confused, but say, I don't think you have to worry about that.
Okay, but if it happens, the ghost will be telling you, I told you so.
I'm willing to take the risk. I think I could destroy your guild.
Not before I have the last word. Ah!
She turns, and the thing starts to ascend on the ship. You see the bottom of her feet, and he's gone. The flying fortress starts to head north-northeast. All of you are now level 10.
Oh, sweet.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Nice.
Because
Oh,
we
man.
didn't die to Zarya.
After our next
High five, boys.
We did it.
after our next long rest, we'll have 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'll have one before anything you encounter. So
Oh.
you can go ahead and level now.
Sweet.
Let's move everybody on
We're
player planning. You are actually closer to your destination than you were too.
Maurice,
That's super convenient. Yes.
I'm level 10, which means I finally get my last meta magic for the campaign. Finally have twin spell.
Yes.
Just a heads
Yes.
up. Finally.
Yes.
Dreams really do come
Wow.
true.
Let's publish that. Sorry, guys. Yes, twins now. Yes.
Or like this.
I think for level 10, I just get Aura of Courage and nothing else changes. Well, hit points and stuff, obviously, but I don't think I need to make any choices.
Yeah, level 10 is usually pretty boring unless you're a fighter or another class that gets accelerated feats. Maybe Eldrin. Oh no, because he multi-classed. Oh, well actually
Yeah.
he might get a feat because he multi-classed.
Well, I'm getting Uncanny Dodge,
Nice.
which is pretty good.
Alright, the fortress starts to head off into the distance. All of you have...
Oh, I got divine intervention. Ooh.
Divine Intervention is pretty cool.
It works.
Ironically, Edmund has ascended to a level where he could have made a deal a little bit better.
Almost
That
as
was
if it was
level 10
planned that way.
Level 10 is actually the minimum level you need to be to make the kind of deal that Edmund was trying to make. Get fucked. Get fucked. Which is actually a deal written in the book, by the way.
Are you serious?
Yeah, level 10 good aligned paladin can make certain deals. So...
Damn.
I asked her for the amount of time it would take, too.
She doesn't know your current EXP, nerd!
I know.
Your soul did not shine bright enough! Alright, so... Yeah, you're left. There's no Lulu providing you magical defense auras anymore. No positive influence on your party's morale. You're left in the middle of... Slobberchops is fine, by the way. Slobberchops never got on the ship. But
I would never imagine he would have. And I imagine he probably just flew back on casually as we got off.
yeah, Slobberchops catches up to you somehow.
Like the clowns.
Oh, no.
Where's my food?
He's got demon blood all over him where he's killed some demons.
Actually, yeah, we're gonna pull it. What was it? Dragon Age that did that with the enchantment guy.
He's got like
Oh,
a
God, yes.
he's got like
yes.
he's got like an imp's tail in his mouth,
Ench-
chewing on it.
What happened? Enchantment. Like the room is just filled with blood. Oh my god, that guy was
Dead
sick.
bodies. OP. I hope they get to explaining his story. I am so curious about what the fuck he is or can do. It's just
All
I
right.
must know.
So, what do you guys want to do? You want to continue on? Oh, you know what? Because I forgot to say something. You are also handed a note.
Anthony Mills?
I will say Anthemila was handed a note,
Yeah.
and the note says, "Present me at the watchtower near the river Styx."
So present to me.
And present me at the watchtower at the river Styx, and it has Zario's seal on it.
Present me at the watchtower at the River Styx. Got it.
Yep. Yeah, you guys would have ran into a fight there, but I'm not making you guys do that because I have Zario's blessing on this.
Tainted love.
By the way, now after long rest and short rest, you guys gain 7 temporary HP, not 6.
Nani?
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if there's any reason for me to continue clericing. I should think of other things.
Let's see, what's this new aura all about? I don't remember.
New aura?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
So, what do you guys want to do? Like, are you guys
I mean,
going to head to Smiler?
I think we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about everything
Yeah.
first. What are you crazy?
That's
All
what
right,
I wanna make
starting
sure.
Down the line, Eldrin, what did she talk to you about? And did you also think the painting of me was pretty creepy?
Yeah, she asked her if she was a fan. She responded that she hopes to be.
A fan? Wait, what?
Yeah, like a fan of you.
She hopes to be a fan of me? Yeah,
I guess
that
it would depend on whatever you guys talked about.
that does not make me feel better. Nope, that doesn't make me feel better at all.
But no, mostly she doesn't want Smiler and Avernus, and I want to bring him back.
So, what exactly are the details of you bringing Smiler back? Are we gonna have to go back to the material plane and deal with some type of angry Sylvan wrath against? Now, if you direct him towards Baldur's Gate, that's fine. We'll be okay with that. But like anywhere
Well,
else, you know.
Ideally, I would want to turn him back first. So either break the contract in some way or cure his craziness and liberate him from his current condition.
Okay. And then returning him.
So
With Titan's blood?
Careful of Titan's blood. There were specific things that it said it could do.
Yeah, I thought it was one soul, right?
There was a keyword you're missing.
Yeah.
Might have been mortal soul. I'd have to go back and look at my notes.
so
Anyway,
yeah, it might not be possible to break his contract per se. So he did a lot of good for my people. The least I can do is set him free.
Do you
But
know what
if we can cure him of his condition first, that would be best.
do you know what his contract is or who it's is it with Zariel?
No, it's with with a pit fiend. The one from the shield.
Yikes.
ugh.
Darn it. We still have that stupid shield that might make it easier to help you.
It would, but not much point to dwell on that.
Mm,
There is a detail. I'll let you know. Once
Oh?
once I've taken care of him, Sarah will be taking me back to the material plane. Now there's no stipulation on time frame on when I need to do it. I just can't directly what's the word? Mess with interfere with her dealings. I would imagine that most of you got the same condition on your contracts
Yeah.
in some way. Now that doesn't mean that we can't break our contracts through this Titan blood thing if that works that way.
So if
Then-
you directly interfere with her dealings, she's able to confiscate your soul, I take it?
Correct.
So you say
Eldrin,
can't
your
harm-
side. She actually. Yours is a lot more simple than that, Eldrin. If you recall, she made it a little bit easier for you to actually weasel
Did she
your
take
way.
that out?
Yeah, it was literally just, once you deal with Smiler, she would return you to the material plane at a place of your.
Oh, that's right.
It's effectively that simple. She didn't
Yeah.
have stipulations. She originally had stipulations about El Terrell, and you were kind
But
of
then
like,
it's like, oh,
yeah. She's just like,
Yeah.
well, if I make him fuck off, that'll work. So
but she didn't stipulate the time frame. So
Mm.
if it's not the first thing we do, then it wouldn't be. I would be able to help still. But I'm not sure what your guys' contract is. Mine is pretty simple, and it kind of aligned with what I needed anyways, and what I'm here for. So nothing too bad there.
Okay.
Now I did get that she might have the contract with the people of Elturel in her chest.
Ah.
You notice a big chest in her room. She happened to take a glance when she was talking about the contract with Elturel and its people. So
So
that's
that
pretty
might
much
be-
all I could gather. I mean, there's some unique items that we could use to track perhaps the location of the ship to know if it's close by or not.
Well, if I can get my hands on another crystal ball, I can pretty much find her. I mean, she's a very memorable figure.
that's true.
Well, we don't want to let her know that we're scrying on her, if possible.
Also true.
Also,
Sorry.
true sight.
Yeah, like she can probably see it whenever it's happening
Oh.
and dispel it pretty quickly.
Probably true.
But yeah, I mean, no, nothing too much on our side, on my side. What about yours, Edmund? How your conversation go?
Not super great. She turned my offer down.
What was
I-
your offer?
Why did she let you go?
I don't know. I didn't think she was going to.
Mm,
Wait, so you didn't sign anything and she let you go?
Not sign anything.
I did ask her to that I might need you guys for Smiler, so perhaps that went into the equation.
Did she promise to send you home?
No.
Yeah. There it is.
No, I offered her my soul in exchange for all the people in Elturel. He says as he starts drinking out of a flask. Out of a water skin. Like he says it like quickly and just
He
starts
just
drinking.
finds a flask now. That's his thing.
No,
Just-
water skin. It wouldn't have alcohol on it.
Something alcoholic. Well, that would have been a noble thing to do.
Apparently I wasn't strong enough for her taste.
Feels bad, man.
Oh, so that's probably why she let you go then.
Well,
She said in time that maybe the deal would work out, but I don't.
She just
But I
waited for you
told
to
her
get
there's no
stronger.
deal. I told her there's no deal without Elturel. How long are those people going to last? So
Well, it's a win-win for her, right?
Yeah.
You either get stronger and she gets special soul, or she doesn't. And she gets all the souls in Elturel anyways.
wins either way.
She's using them to make devils.
yep, most of them will become yours. Some may become stronger demons, devils, whatever.
Oh, let me turn off this ominous death music, by the way.
The thing she uses,
No, you should leave it on for the Lulu info.
she does, at the very least, seem
I did,
to.
I did make sure that we're always using the lantern whenever we have these talks.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I know.
That makes sense.
Solid now.
So yeah, I did through conversation to get the idea that she, while fallen, does genuinely hate all fiends.
Including devils.
Huh?
Including devils?
Yeah. She had one killed in front of me to prove the point. She plans to eventually destroy all of it, even Osmodeus himself, but she needs to be stronger. But in the process, she's doing things like killing hundreds of people in Elturel.
Yeah, she doesn't care about people, that's for sure.
Right, exactly. And she didn't state that she did. But she also isn't.
Oh, she told me she
buddy-buddy
didn't
with-
explicitly.
Yeah. She's also not buddy-buddy with the creatures that she's commanding.
Just a correction, guys. Just want to make sure you guys heard this right. Didn't care for the people of Elturel.
Of Elturel, yeah.
That's a
Right,
pretty
yeah.
important distinction. I want to make sure you guys
Right.
got.
And I would explain that she is of the mindset that if people sign contracts and sign their lives away, that they're cowards and they're power hungry, corrupt, things like that. They probably deserve to be here. I disagree.
I also disagree considering the nature of Elturel's contract.
Right. Yeah, she used it. She cited ignorance as well, because I told her most mortals are tricked into their contracts. She doesn't seem to care about that. So, while in a perfect world, it would be great if she would kill all demons and devils. I think the amount of time that it will take her to accomplish such a feat is not a reasonable one in the amount of people that will die in the process. The amount of souls that will be lost in the process.
Okay. So you offered your soul. She said no. Anything else?
No,
She just returned you to the cell?
she told me she didn't think she could let me leave and returned me to the cell.
Did she specify Avernus or her ship when she said let you leave?
Ship. Right, I'm not misremembering that, right, Don? She said that she could hold me. She should probably just hold me captive here until.
Yeah, she didn't make any deals with her Antamila, so there's no stipulation as to ship or in person, but the
Right.
indication was that she was going to keep Edmund on her ship.
In the cell, yeah, that was the implication I got.
So something
Sure.
must have changed after talking to Derek and Camilla. So, what was yours about? Derek?
I had actually she requested my assistance to help you. The same thing, the removal of Smiler.
Anything
What?
else?
Before I say anything else, was that direct interference, Donald?
Wait, in regards to
The
which?
other half.
So hold on. Tell me what it is that you think. Oh, no.
Message, side message.
Message me on Facebook,
Yeah.
please. Careful. Oh, you did. Hold on. Oh no, you are.
Hold on. I don't even know. There.
You could from your understanding, you could mention that all day long. There was nothing in the contract stipulating you can't say that.
Okay.
If you want to share that, that is up to
Okay.
you.
It's more like literally afraid the moment I say something, poof.
Well, remember
I disappear back into
your
her ship and forfeit my soul.
So hold on. Your
Okay. Cool. So my contract was very similar. Once I assist with Smiler, then I will also be returned to the material plane. As soon as I assist with that. Same thing, no time stipulation.
What kind of assistance?
I was just told to assist you in removing Smiler. There was no talk about having to kill him or defeat him, just get him out of Avernus. So from my understanding, whatever means you want to do, Eldrin,
Okay.
is kind of the same for me.
Did she maybe mention why Smiler is such a problem for her?
Nope.
I personally didn't ask.
No.
She just said he's been causing. He's been a troublemaker, pretty much. And we know that he doesn't really deal like the other war chiefs in the area.
I'm going to insight that one to see if you're lying.
I was going to say, if you're inciting me, I'm telling you,
Not you.
I'm not lying.
That's for. I don't think Eldrin's lying.
Nope.
Okay.
She didn't remember his history right away, so I don't think that has to do too much with it.
But there's a little bit more. So Zariel had, explained to me about the companion.
Mm-hmm.
I was created, and just about all our suspicions were affirmed. Belle created it, trapped a solar. She used it effectively that was her bargaining chip with Thavius in order to get El Terrell here in the first place. She says she has no use for it anymore, and she actually described some adamantine rods in the southeast from here that could perhaps release and break it down. Which
would free El Terrell?
which I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's something that needs to be priority. Edmund, I think the reason you're allowed to go free is I gave her some information to allow that.
What? Give her.
And he'll just say one word, Gavriel.
No.
Bitch.
Which way did Zariel's flying fortress go?
Oh God! You see Antamilla immediately sit down and start using sending immediately as soon as you say it.
He can
Oh
summon
my
her.
God!
He can summon her.
Not physically, like.
Well, like not like
yeah.
but like he can contact her.
Yeah, through dreams.
That is true.
Oh, you have to wait till the dream.
We freaking do it. So just
never
gonna.
Yeah. Anyways, but that would be the. So long as I don't directly interfere with El Terrell, I can keep assisting. I figured if we can figure out to get the companion, it can.
Alex, make sure you
Help
read that last
situation.
line of my DMs to you on Facebook. That last part.
Okay.
What
Yes.
exactly?
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Wait. So you want me to write it or read it?
Read it if you didn't already. Just that
Okay,
last line. If you know that, then that's perfectly okay.
What did you get in exchange?
I mean, effectively, so long as you could work something out, your safety.
What exactly did you tell her about Gabriel?
As little information as I could.
What exactly did you tell her?
I told her she visited us and headed to the northeast. And did I say that? Hold on.
There's a few things you said that were pretty interesting.
So I told her, where she visited us. She was heading back, presumably, and I specifically used the word presumably towards El Terrell. So effectively, I sent Zariel back to El Terrell.
Well, then there's nothing we can do about it other than try to get Gabriel over here or out of there.
She won't kill the mortals. She wants them to be turned.
Give me an intelligence check on that, Edmund.
One interesting part, she had asked what her business was, and I pretty much just described her talking about redemption, which she began laughing to herself. I didn't quite understand the
Yay,
context.
you remembered you said this. Okay, cool. Also, you have no clue, Edmund. Ignore this.
Yep. Yeah, he thinks he knows, though, which is that she seemed to imply there's a process, that it's going to take time. I mean, if she could just turn them all immediately into members, why wouldn't they already be that way, right?
Well, I'm not going to say anything because your intelligence check was too low, but there's a lot of context clues saying...
Well, I'm saying this out loud, so...
Oh, well, anybody else
if
can speak
anyone wants
up.
to contradict me. But yeah, so that made...
I mean, why would she give you the keys to free a solar to Avernus?
She said she had absolutely no use for it anymore. Just didn't matter to her.
I feel like that would interfere with her plans, wouldn't it? A creature of that strength?
It,
Good aligned?
it definitely seemed interesting, and I tried questioning her how she was effectively doing business with Bell, since he definitely created the companion.
I send this.
But she
message
just
to
seemed
Gabriel.
incredibly aloof and indifferent.
And
I don't know what to respond with. Okay, you're. Ah, nice. Hold on, everyone's nice. Uh. uh. Okay.
I'm gonna start.
And you said that you provided Edmund's safety?
I tried requesting for Anthamilla and Edmonds, but she seemed pretty set on not having to deal with Anthamilla in the first place. So as far as I understand, Edmund is allowed free and she wouldn't directly harm him.
Okay.
There was no discussion about you leaving, how you leave Avernus, however.
Well, remember, she's not a devil per se, so at least in my I didn't see any issues with my contract.
Her contract actually was very straightforward, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I will say this: only one of you got bamboozled a little. I'm not gonna say who, just to troll you guys. But somebody did get bamboozled a little.
Just a little bit.
With a very plain text contract, it's scary the things that you can get people to do.
It's probably me. Remember that eight insight, boys?
Well, it's the investigation.
She seemed all on the up and up at the time. This
I
giant
relay
devil creature. Yeah, totally trustworthy.
That message that Altamila got is pretty harrowing.
Yeah, and now they all know. I just told them, or I'm saying.
Give me an insight check on Tamila.
I don't wanna, cause I don't wanna.
Yeah, I know. That's Batman.
It does that.
That's gonna be enough. It's pretty simple, putting things together. You know that now that Dariel knows that Gavriel is on this plane, she's primo scry material. She seemed intimately familiar with that person. So Gavriel's choice is in a way kind of wise, because it seems inevitable that she's going to be found anyway.
Yep.
Separating herself from the innocents is probably the best that could happen. Also, that 10% chance, Edmund, on the table breaking was going to be the crystal ball shattering.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah.
for.
I was like, that would be so cool if incensing her into anger it turns out to be a benefit for you guys. I thought that would have been cool.
She was pissed.
Yeah, she is not happy with Gabrielle at all. Nope.
I guess out of instinct, I guess Edmund would be very furious with Derek, and then quiet down about it and just drop it for apparently no reason. I guess that's probably the best way to describe it.
Going to kill her if she finds her. And she's going to find her.
So we should try to do something about it. And I know I know, Eldrin, we need to take care of Smiler. That's our end of the bargain. I'm hoping.
Well, there's nothing we can do about it. Like, she has a very fast flying machine. We're not willing to use the machines ourselves.
Yeah, there's no way you're gonna beat her
she
there.
she can scry on her and us, and it's much more powerful than we are. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're to do about it, other than Edmund trying to release her and try to convince her to go back to her own plane or something. I don't think she's gonna be safe anywhere in this plane anymore.
Run away again, you cowardly angel. Wow, consequences.
Hmm?
I would have thought
Me
selling
and
out your
Dyer.
friends turns out to be bad.
Well, he sold out his friend's friend. Okay.
True. True, actually.
true.
You know what? I would actually do that for you guys. I would sell out a friend's friend.
Donald,
to
that's a
help you guys
huge
out.
troll. I didn't sell her out. I tried my damnedest not to, and just,
All I can say from in character's perspective is Zarya seemed quite pleased upon returning to the cells with you. So
yeah, I know. I gave her what she wanted to hear, for sure. Just, it wasn't like, oh yeah, she's right here, guys. Go have her.
I'm going to ask a question out of character. Like, do you know how bad that actually might be? Like, how bad that just mentioning Gabrielle in the same plane was? Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's our revive.
I was going to say, Edmund's the first one to mention the name Gabrielle, hence the broken table.
yeah, it's true. Like she was not even on the radar. So to be fair, this is all Edmund's fault. So feel
all
better.
right, redirecting blame to Edmund. Oh my god. Why would you?
To be fair, it was the very last thing he did, if I recall.
Do you ask him that in character?
Ooh.
Ask him specifically. Like, wait, specifically what?
Never mind.
Well, let's no point on playing the blame game here. Let's.
We just lost Gabrielle. Okay, so all right, back in character.
She whiffed on
short-lived.
twice, anyways. She didn't seem that strong.
Yeah, but as support, considering. Oh right, and Lulu's gone, guys.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I figure as much.
Yeah. It's not dead, right?
As far as I know, she's been sent back to the material plane.
Oh, that's good for Lulu. At least she get out of this mess.
Oh, I didn't forget.
Rude.
I mean, if push comes to shove, you'd be surprised what people are capable of.
It's true.
So how are you still here with us, though, Anthamilla? It seemed she was very interested in you. I thought for sure we were going to lose you.
Well, I might have signed us all up on a very dangerous mission. Or at least me, I suppose.
What was the whole portrait thing about? She seemed to be famous around this area.
Yeah,
Did you find out?
Was very tight-fisted about why, but she said it's just make it easier to scry on me, which is just so stalkery. I don't understand why. Anyway, so like I have to go see this Archon guy, and I mentioned that earlier, and all that, and yeah, now I have to kill him and bring his arm back.
Arm?
Yeah, his left arm in particular. Very specific for some reason.
So that's fun.
How strong is this guy again?
Well, he's the champion of Tiamat. He has a bunch of generals. He's surrounded like dragon cultists of Tiamat. Fairly weak, fairly average. That's sort of run-of-the-mill type of villainy you see any day in Baldur's Gate.
So we have to think about a way of isolating him or getting him out of his hiding place.
She mentioned isolating him would be probably for the best. and that apparently I would be uniquely suited to isolating him.
Perhaps he's particularly interested in you, which makes sense based on all the things happening.
More like he's probably particularly interested in the orb, maybe. I don't know.
You seem to
But yeah,
be
there's that.
key aspect of this. So
Mhm.
before you took the orb or not, but I'm sure the orb helps. So is that your contract, just to kill him? And
I kill him, I bring the left arm back, and I go home, my mother goes home, and my father goes home.
Well,
does
your mother and father get returned to the material plane to a point of their choice. You get returned home.
you don't know where home is?
Home is where the heart is, Eldrin.
Also, you said they do get returned. It seems like they were already returned.
Yeah,
Popped out.
she did that immediately.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
actually was written on yours Facebook message, Maurice. Yours was upon signature, they get returned to the material plane to a point of their choice. So, yes,
Nice.
you fixed them right away, fortunately.
Well, she didn't ask her, so I'm assuming point of her choice was based on her their whatever they were thinking about or something.
Yeah, you don't know how that magical stuff works.
Yeah.
Wibbly wobbly magic.
Timey wine.
Tapped her heels 3 times. Poof.
Ah, man.
Wow.
Man.
So what do we do?
You have 4 minutes. You could get either end on a cool cliffhanger, depending on what way you go, or we could just segue into more discussion. Up to you guys.
We're going to have to figure out what we're doing first, because
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Do we still need to go to the volcano? It seems like that's not necessary anymore.
I really would, truthfully, I would really wish to, but I think at this point,
Well, where are we supposed to get the rods?
this is
Over
more
there?
important. To the southeast,
Okay.
if you pull out your map, she was talking about a fortress that contained them
What are the rods for?
in
Is it
in
this?
a field of fire.
Florence Theater.
No, it's
Field of Fire looks like here, maybe.
Yeah. So
if,
if
she
there's
says southeast, we're somewhere over here.
southeast field of fire, presumably that thing.
Yeah, maybe that thing or
But
something.
it's a fortress that
Yeah.
contained these rods that would. There's 9 of them.
What are the rods for again?
Freeing the Solar.
Of the companion.
Do we remember, is a Solar stronger than a Diva, which is what Gabrielle is?
Yes.
Would a
They're like
Solar,
similar to a Pitfin, right?
Yeah, solars are high, and
would a Solar be able to lift Elturel out if the chains were broken?
it was literally, I think, the specific example of something strong.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
So, yes.
Well,
that's good to know.
Does anybody have did anybody have stipulations on messing up with her plans with Eltero? Was that you, Derek?
No, I may have misunderstood.
Oh, okay.
There are no written stipulations.
I wouldn't do that to you guys.
Yeah.
Seems like adventure over.
Yeah, if you can't interfere with
Damn
the
it.
Elturel plot chain, like, I mean...
Instead, I just came up with a
I-
more simple way that would make sense for her. Just
I
get
th-
the fuck out of my house, sort of thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
that
let me
makes
reiterate.
sense.
Like
Like,
literally, just don't come across me again. Otherwise, fuck you. I don't care.
Man,
Kind of situation.
Edmund's angry at Derek. He's angry at himself.
Should be.
Out of character, it was probably Alex probably prevented effective character death for Edmund.
We got 1 minute left.
Probably.
Though. What do we want to do?
Yeah. What do you guys want to do with your last minute? Do you want to do you have any idea of where you're going? If not, I'm not going to press the issue.
I have no idea because
I think we have to discuss it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. I had
Yeah,
a
we're
cool
gonna have to start
cliffhanger, but it's ruined again. You guys ruined
Yeah.
all my
Sorry.
good cliffhangers. All right,
I don't know where to
so
go.
the flying fortress of Zariel is now a distant dot in the horizon, heading towards a bigger distant dot in the horizon, Elturel. It is likely that Gavriel is totally fucked. This is where we're going to end it for tonight. Find out what happens next week on Descending to Avernus.